Good evening, everyone. You're with Global Voice 2012. This is Denise, and we have Drake with us, and we have Minuteman and Grammy J, and today is August the 15th. I want to thank everyone for being with us tonight. Let everybody know that we will be taking questions, as always, from our chat room at globalvoice2012.us, and then there's a chat button up at the top of the page. We will not be using the Blog Talk Radio chat. It blocks up, it fills up, and it becomes non-functional. Also, you can submit questions at drakeanswers@gmail.com during the program. Questions only, please, not comments. And that would be about all the announcements I would have for this evening. Drake, welcome to the program. And Minuteman, glad to have you with us, as always.
Hello.
Hello.
I feel lonesome.
You feel lonesome?
Uh-oh.
Oh, there he is.
There he is.
I'm here, brother.
Oh, where's Grammy J? She hiding back in the background somewhere.
Grammy J was going to have to call back in because her hand wouldn't raise.
I'm not going to mess with that. That sounds like some kind of, really squirrely personal problems and stuff, so I'm just going to...
Come on, Grammy J, push that hand up there.
Yeah, raise your hand, Grammy, raise your hand.
Oh, boy.
Okay, let's see.
I don't know how everybody else does the things, but I look around a lot, and one of the things I read, one of the places I go just for, and some of it's just for, I'm sure the man knows better than to post. Some of this stuff is absolute gospel, and that's the Nacera forums and news sources. And, he's got things on here that are, a lot of it is pretty right on, and he's got these little cuties like Obama can kiss my blankety blank. I don't know if he's, really interested about, being funny or what, exactly what's going on here. But it looks like the man's having good fun with this website. It really does. Even though he posts some stuff from places I won't post from, simply because I know where it comes from. I'll leave it all up to him, but I'm going to find out one about, I wonder if he's got one of them little emoticons and little happy faces kissing somebody's booty. That's what I want to see. So, but I decided to look around. I don't know if everybody's been paying attention to the website, but I did post something today. I got another nice little cutie coming out behind that. Okay. All right. Howard Crops, yeah, come on. We the people. Okay. Advertisement by me? That's not an advertisement. That was a warning. Get you some cash out of the bank. And that came from Neil Keenan by way of several different sources, not just one, as some of the documentation might make you think it is. He doesn't. This man don't operate that way anyway. And Keenan likes having more than one person say, "Yeah, that would be a good idea." Here we go. Obama can kiss my.
Drake, I just wanted to let you know Grammy is with us. Her hand still isn't raised. I don't know what the problem is with that, but she should be with us. Grammy, are you there?
Yes, I am. Love to everybody.
I thought I was going to say all you got to do is beat the phone on its head, and sometimes it cooperates.
I'm here, brother. I'm here, man. I love all of you.
We love you too, Grammy. I'll tell you what, guys. I posted a thing today and some of my own research, and I qualified that at the bottom. I don't have a title for it. It's just something I reported by looking things up. I've had certain individuals sending me stuff and saying this is ours and that's that, and somebody don't got nothing to do with diddly squat. And I sent it to several people, and I got responses from them and put it together in an email form, and we posted it today. I'm going to read it to you so you get an idea. I see things all the time that makes me wonder. is that real? Just like everyone else, you know, you get, I mean, I didn't know that Obama could kiss my whatever would be, and it's on a sign, you know, they put it outside of business. We built this business without government help. Obama can kiss our Watusi. Oh, boy, and the owner signed it and all that, and approved the message. So, you know, is that real? Well, there's a picture. It probably is, knowing how upset everybody is right now. Now, I've done some investigating of my own because I keep getting posts that are contrary to what I know or have been told. Now, I deal with a lot of the sources and people that are actually doing it, Neil Keenan, among others. And so when they tell me something, and then they might send me a little email, private one, saying da-da-da, and then somebody says something totally backwards or totally opposite of what I get, I go, what? Well, I received some things that I just couldn't resist anymore. I had to look. Some just didn't quite settle right. So because I have held numerous documents in my possession that belong to Neil Keenan and the BIS cease and desist issue issued by the White Hats sounded familiar, I looked back at Neil Keenan's case, Neil Keenan's cease and desist regarding the BIS, and it sure sounds familiar. And I just sent a copy of all this, by the way. You might get to see this somewhere a little after the end of the show. Only difference is that the Keenan cease and desist was months earlier and is what froze the accounts, not anything filed by the White Hats. Somebody named names. Again, I had to return to the material I held and noticed that the White Hats also tried to take credit for the Monaco Accords. Really. They claimed they had 120 nations behind them, and they placed this on YouTube. But in fact, they had no one behind them. They even called David Wilcock and Neil Keenan asking for help in finding nations for them. Oh, yeah, I forgot to mention, David Wilcock and I, we talk on the phone regular whenever it's needed, and we need to exchange information, as he is allowed according to his schedule and whatnot. And we exchange documentations about different things. So, here you got the White House calling David Wilcock and asking to find nations. Means they must not have nobody home. Now, Keenan laughed at this, seeing he had the nations and was not giving them to the White Hats. Now, yeah, I present stuff to the originators, because I hear this person's in charge and I own this and no they don't, and et cetera. Ring around to Rosie. And after this came a copycat lawsuit which circulated around the net, which Leo Wanda of the White Hats allegedly filed in Switzerland. This also was a takeoff of the Keenan lawsuit in New York. Again, we have the White Hats making claims for something they know nothing about. And it's kind of obvious when you get into it because of the manner in which the thing that the White Hats put out was structured. Now, the killer to it all is the global accounts, which they keep claiming to have their hands in. And I've heard this from varying people. Well, they do have their hands in them, but as thieves, not as signatories. That means that they don't have legal right to it. The money used by Leo Wanda, Reagan, and Mitterrand to destroy the USSR was stolen from the global accounts by these three. The accounts were then frozen in Wanda's bank, and this is what today Wanda claims is his. Now, I'm putting this up so you guys can get a copy and you can read it and you can study it out. The stolen global accounts are owned by the depositors of the gold used to create such accounts, and as well owned by the world and not any one group or person or group. Putin, yeah, you've heard of him, Vladimir Putin, the leader of the free world and the protector of sovereign rights, has been interested in knowing about all this for many years. I decided to put it in writing because he kind of hinted, Mr. Putin, kind of hinted that he would like to know about this. Putin has his eyes on the sovereign rights of the rest of the sovereign world. Now, this don't sound right. Ooh, he's a Ruski. Well, I have been trying to tell people that Russia and China are allied with the people's right to be free and sovereign. And you're hearing it here. And he's making changes in Russia to provide that very thing. People don't realize that, but you got to read Pravda once in a while, and I don't know if people, have the gumption to do their own homework anymore. There will be no more taking. There's no more taking your sovereignty by the West, and no more central banks once Keenan closes them down. Everybody think about that. I've told you people this on many occasions, and a lot of people ain't listening or paying attention or anything. Now, I just printed out 22 pages, and it's called served upon the following entities and their executives: Union Bank of Switzerland, UBS, Bank for International Settlements, BIS, order to cease and desist criminal acts. Yeah, that's right. The original, with the original copies, all right? And by copies, I mean photocopies that can be put into an email format or Adobe Acrobat Reader or whatever and passed along. I have put this out to our host and the person that does my website, Denise has been pretty wonderful about a whole lot of things. She helped me run my website and handles all this stuff on the radio, and I don't know where she managed to get some sleep, and I hear that sometimes she don't, and all that, but immediate demand under force of law. I mean, I don't know how much these people understand, but basically it's real simple. And I'm getting into the finance because everybody's been asking about that for one thing. They'd like some intel. Well, we're going to be getting the intel on the new filings whenever Neil is done with them. He said he's going to send them to me and another person, and we're both going to publish at the same time. So it's going to spread all over the place, hopefully worldwide. The reason it needs to be worldwide is simply that this is a worldwide scam. It ain't just here. It's everywhere. And when you get a cancer like that eating at the finances of everything, it thinks it's immune. It thinks it's bulletproof. It don't think anybody can touch it, period, no matter what they throw at it. And I don't know if you noticed the audacity, and somebody don't understand that. That's in your face telling you what is and what ain't. And, you think about it, and this is exactly what's happening. I have not seen, in a lot of years, anybody with the unmitigated gall to get in somebody's face and say, horse hockey, and you too, and the horse you rode in on, and all that. Take a flying leap at a rolling donut, long walk off short pier, and make sure that they understand what a one-finger salute is at the end of the sentence. People have gotten in arguments, and it's a biggie. It's the one you save for last. Well, this time I'm putting it first, and it's where you lose it. You go F you and anybody that looks like you, etc. The stuff that's in this cease and desist are a part of documentation that the cabal, bad guys, would like not to have out. That's one of the reasons I decided to put it up. There's more coming, by the way. And by more, I mean it's going to be a nice little surprise. These people have no idea what has been going on and who the helpers and assistants and I don't know what you'd call it, co-conspirating people in this group that I hang out with are. And to be quite frank about it, I'm tired of people playing games with me. That's one of the reasons that this report is being put up on my website. It puts things in proper perspective. If need be, if somebody really like to know, there is documentation to back it up. I'm not going to request it or put it up unless it's required. You're going to get this cease and desist criminal acts. Now, this shows the dates which this was applied and shows that there's some kind of bogus something or another going on that somebody else thinks they're in charge and they're the ones doing stuff. And the more I looked at it and the more I found out, I don't really know what people are thinking in terms of, oh, you know, it ain't really going to happen. It's not real. I'll tell you right now, if everybody took between $50 and $100 out of the bank, each one of the people that put money into it, each person, for each account that they hold, I mean, what you want to do is figure, say, a week, maybe two, and how much cash you might want to have on hand just to maybe see you past that, and put it somewhere. Put it in a coffee can, you know, stick it in the attic, bury it in the yard, whatever you want to do. Hide it someplace where somebody won't look. And hold on to it. Now, I've recommended getting junk silver because gold's pretty pricey for a lot of people. Two things. The people that are involved, and when I say involved, I mean actively involved in the freedom movement, tend to be older. We are the ones, we are the people that our parents warned us about. Now we have a generation of kids who have kids, generally, and there's a problem, and the problem is this. The Internet exploded and blossomed. First of all, with communication, quite considerably. Then all of a sudden, information started showing up. Things like Wikipedia, the digital libraries were able to be accessed from colleges as to certain articles and certain information, and it just took off like it was going out of style. Now, I personally, me and my computer get along real well. Every time I need to get an email out of it, I use a can opener. So that'll give you some ideas to my relationship with some of this electronic stuff. And yet, even though our younger generation are totally plugged in, they're texting, they're this and they're that and all the time, there's a problem, and it's serious. They're plugged into Never Never Land. They're not plugged into information. They're not plugged into doing anything other than texting, running around being silly, which is okay with kids. I mean, I can't fault them for being who they are or what they are. But once you quit being a kid, in other words, you start having to make sure that you do make it to work on time on your own, and that sort of stuff. When you get, you know, out of them teenage years and you start trying to figure out what's up, and you do happen to be able to find some sort of a work somewhere, and you start bumping along, this puts you into the generation between my kids and the ones that follow right behind them. They're only slightly younger. You get several waves of baby boomers. You got 1, 2, and 3 basically, with a little bit of leftovers in there, here and there in different places. Well, I'm the one. The 2 was pretty great. That was all our kids. The 3 is the ones that followed up behind that. That was the later baby boomer generation part, and it was a pretty good wave. Not super great. I thought they could do better, but we got plenty of kids that way anyway. And that's who I'm trying to get to. I think that we, as a group, I think we as an audience, we as people who believe in freedom, have got it down pretty good. I think we're taking some action and we're seeing what works and figuring things out and going for it. And that's excellent. You know, I applaud everybody. All I do is sit here and talk on the phone and bring certain supposed secrets out in the open. What I'm looking to do is change the tune a little bit. Now, we've been in information and outing mode for quite a while, trying to get the message out and wake people up. We switched off of that just a little bit and started adding information. Documentation from this and documentation from that, reports that have been validated, things of this nature. Trying to make sure that people understood that we're about being for real, first of all. Secondly, being accurate. And along with that goes truth. if I find there's a mistake somewhere, I'll admit it. I have done so on the air, and yeah, people do every once in a while get to me, and that ain't very often, but every once in a while they manage it. I have known for quite a while who's who, what's what, who they work for, and by that I mean who signs their paycheck, not just usual, oh, he's over there kind of stuff. And I've been playing games for quite a while because I live in the woods. I get to play the hillbilly game, and I know some people actually do talk that way. They do act that way. I have not yet met a family that don't give shoes out until you graduate grade school, but I'm sure there may be one or two left up here somewhere. The gist of this is this: accuracy, the reality of it. I would suggest that most children, all they want to do is, I want to get older so I can do that. Wow, I'm 16, I get my permit. Or, I'm 21, I can go get a beer. Whatever it might be. They want to grow up and attain things. I guess it's by proxy or something of that nature. You get to be 21, if you haven't been put in a position where you got to join the military and go over in Iraq, get blown apart, you're doing good. And by the way, I disagree with that ideology. Don't mean I won't pull the trigger on the enemy. I don't hesitate on that. I learned that the hard way. About got shot a couple times, and I'm going to pull mine first. Heck with this. No. Thou shalt not perforate my whatevers. Don't work that way. I know I wouldn't like that, so we go perforate yours before you get the chance to do mine. And that's basically how that works. It's not complicated. It needs something I like. And I do speak of things sometimes that are serious in a joking manner. Believe me, war ain't nothing funny about it. It's ironic. That would be the laughter. An ironic laughter that we are too stupid to learn from making our mistakes. Insanity is defined as doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. Now, I served in Vietnam. We said, never again. And then come up another one, and we're looking at 3 or 4 more. I mean, come on, where is your intelligence? Not that the military's bad, but the people that are in charge of it right now don't seem to care whether you come home one piece or not. And I say that openly, blatantly, and I will blame the DOD and the Veterans Administration for not putting their foot down and saying, hey. And the reason I do is because they knew about the explosives when we first went over that direction. And they didn't put the armor plating on the friggin' vehicles. Got a lot of people hurt. They also forgot about making sure that they had the body armor ready when it was time to go. Now, come on, y'all. I know a couple of things about this, and common sense will tell you that you take ammunition with you when somebody's going to be shooting at you. Well, in Vietnam, they thought it would be cute to try to save a little cash because we was using a lot of ammunition. So they changed the gunpowder. And about the 3rd and 4th round, period, about every 3rd or 4th round, the friggin' thing would not fire correctly. It would jam up. And he knew this. They had tested it. There's some people that I would imagine they're probably getting ready to get out about now if they didn't die in present of old age. We were charged with 40,000 deaths. You did it. You thought that was funny. Think about selling a young person out to make a buck. I mean, they're doing this slavery routine, flesh trade right now like crazy. But anyway, all those are other stories. Back to this. We want to do one thing, and that is to reach the generation just under our baby boom generation. Those youngsters, young people out there, young adults, people that are old enough to, not old enough to drink, but old enough, let's see here, old enough to serve your country, but not old enough to vote, or something along them lines. It was messed up at one point, real bad. Those people who can serve your country and ain't old enough to go in a bar and get a drink. I'm reaching out to the people that already got past Iraq and Afghanistan, some form or another, whether they just survived through it or whatever. The 21, 23, maybe, year-olds, a couple of years behind our kids, give or take. This is the general age group that I would like to reach, and I'll tell you why. Because each and every generation has been disconnected from the one before it or the one after it. I want this to reconnect, and I'll tell you what the reason is. Old people are real mothers. You do not mess with a little old man or a little old lady. 2 reasons for that. Number one, they got an attitude problem because people have screwed them all their lives. Anybody that reaches over and tends to snatch them up, it probably will get bit on the fingers. The second part of that is that we positively, absolutely will not quit. Now, you can talk to the ranchers up in the northern states. I believe it's Montana, the Montana area, and find out that the old people they won't quit. Oh, it's a hard life up there. My goodness gracious. You'll find out that the same attitude of, oh, no, you don't. You freaking screw up. You don't tamper with my stuff. I paid for this, and you either heave up or I'll go home and get the shotgun and we'll settle it up that way. And that's the idea that it's in the head. There's a lot more of us that do that attitude than there are the ones that, oh, stick a lawyer up here, whatever. Yeah, well, you want to wait 8 months to get satisfaction, that's fine, go ahead. We got deer in the front yard. It's a, I don't know what you'd call it, catch-22. How do you reach across that generational gap? Now, the people that went before us in the service, the people in charge, the officials, they said, sit down, shut up, go somewhere, we don't want to hear it. And that's what they did. They shut up. They didn't say nothing about shell shock, post-traumatic stress disorder, battle fatigue. They didn't say nothing about nasty conditions at the hospitals. It was there just like it was with us. We are not our father's generation. We will not sit down, shut up, and go away. That includes when we get old. As in, we will not quit. We will not give up. We ain't going to back up and retire to all this fun and games anyway, and you're going to hand me more? I don't think so. There have been instances of automobile accidents where there's 3 or 4 little old ladies in a car, and this Jeep runs a red light, T-bones them. The guy gets out of his car all mad and everything. He's the one that run a red light, remember that. He's cussing, raising his hands up and down. He goes over to the little old lady driving, and she's shaking her head a little bit, going, she don't believe it. Somebody that's that stupid. Okay. The guy goes tap, 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 knocking on the window. She rolls the window down. The guy leans in. All of a sudden, he's screaming and running around and clawing at his face and getting down on his knees. And she sprayed him with mace probably or something. Then the little old lady, who's her passenger, starts getting out, so the other little old ladies start getting out. They commence to poke him with umbrellas, beat him with their purses, and thoroughly whip his whatever. Now, this is a big old construction worker dude, you know. Oh, man, I can't handle anything. Yeah, well, these 3 little old ladies decided otherwise, and that he was a major inconvenience in their life. Well, they're beating on him, poking him with umbrellas, and smacking him over the head, and by knocking him out and whatnot, stomping on him when he goes down. He finally gets over to his truck, gets in there, hides, rosins out the bow, and screeches off into wherever. Well, he's got a problem. He just left the scene of an accident, for one thing. He's got 3 very upset grandmas. Now, I don't know about your grandma, but I know better than upset mine, because even at her age and my age, she would grab the nearest broom and come after me with it. That's basically what my family would do. And I think there's probably a lot of others out there that Oh, I haven't thought about that. Well, there you go. Now you got one of the tricks of the trade. Use it liberally. It won't hurt the kids near as bad as you think it might, but you can sure have fun playing hockey with them, I'll tell you. Anyway, in order to reach across this generational gap, we have a combination of differentials and differences. One of those is music, general taste, and lifestyle, which was a little bit different but modifies mostly into the same general area. You don't want to hear about horse hockey. You'd like to spend a little time with the kids, and you want a cold beer when you get done with work. Nothing extraordinary. Having somebody to cook for or to cook with, or they'll cook for you and you eat their food, and it's, you know, and it's a good life. It just it amazes me that we can't extend that hand. Now, Rick mentioned something that pretty much struck home real well. We got all these freedom people out and about, wandering around in Gaga land in a virtual reality of the internet. Ooh, big words. And they fail in a lot of ways to see that even though they have carved out their own little niche, their own thing that they're doing specifically, very well defined and very absolute in what they're doing. This is what we stand for. This is how we do it. And would you like to join with us to, you know, maybe get this going a little better? There's hundreds of them out there, and we're wandering around that big room. I can't seem to come together in the middle and shake hands and say, let's join up and see how they like that. Well, I'm here to tell you that we do need to put it together, but we need to do it correctly. Now, some of the things that have come out and are being put out are for the benefit of those who don't know. I'm in a fairly interesting position. I get a lot of things, and I still got a ton, and I can't talk about yet, that are pretty much in process. And yeah, getting ready to happen. People want to hold me to an absolute timing on things. I'll say, a couple of weeks, or exactly 2 weeks, right now to the minute, but right now, ooh, it's going to blow up. Well, I never even mentioned blowing up, but it went off in their mind, and absolutely right to the minute, it didn't happen. Well, when I say, you know, a couple of weeks, give or take, well, that's give or take. It's an approximation. It's an about. And this is what I am told by people. What do you think, a couple of weeks or so? Yeah, why don't you make it 3? Okay. And then I say 3 or 4 weeks. I allow them some extra time to fudge up. I don't know if anybody's ever dealt with the government, but they're a fudge up looking for a place to happen. So I treat them that way. And I allow extra time. Now, there's been some things happening that people don't know about. We're going to see some of the realities of this, and you're going to be surprised. Now, I think that's part of the idea. They don't want to tip their hand too much yet, so I'm not going to mention it on air exactly what I have heard is going on. But I can tell you this, there are some funny games that people are not going to believe. They're going to find out that the people, some of them, and I'll mention this briefly, there are foreign troops on the ground, close proximity or within the borders of the United States. Some of those troops are to be trusted and some ain't. We used to have a thing called a password, a safety password, and an absolute password. There's 3 of them. A password was where you were in a special guard position, and there was 2 or 3 other guys out there that never said nothing. You were the only one that spoke. You were the dangerous guy that was getting ready to die if the enemy troops were really there. Halt, who goes there? It's such and such. And don't be pointing that thing at me. You know who that was. And, okay, man, come on. And they stagger off into the darkness and have a wonderful night passed out until the next morning when they wake up and they feel like something killed them. There's 2 or 3 other guys out there you can't see. That's a password. You can ask for a password, which is given before they go, and they'll tell you. Back in the day when this was used all the time, Marilyn Monroe or, you know, pick something. Then you got the password. And you come up and approach a position, you stay outside of it at a certain distance, and you say, hello, hello. And somebody says, all right, we got you. What's the password? And you give the password. Now, I hate to tell you this, but the enemy listens. Ooh. So we had more than one. And when one would give the password, it would change for everybody, and they'd spread the word. So you got on a patrol at night. That's a lot of fun, by the way. And when you come back in, you got to be able to get back in or get shot. So that password, the safety password. This was usually an emergency password. Everybody knew what to do. They had already given instructions. You hear the word Dinglebat or Bugs Bunny or whatever it might be, you did certain things, period. Now, this is sort of beside the point in a way, but it's also a point. The things that I've been through, the stuff that is going on now is different. It used to be rock and roll. Some people went to heavy metal, and there's some of it that I like, not greatly, but I like general rock and roll. You've heard some of the music. I like to be able to have something that says something. That's my general thing in terms of what I like to enjoy. They come out with boomers, and all that is noise. And you've heard cars, they go boom, and I guess that's cool. I think it's kind of silly, but, you know. Anyway, so then you got rap music, and some of it, I'm going to tell you right now, is pretty cool. If you learn to listen to the words and are able to understand what they're talking about, Tupac Shakur was one of the best writers I've ever run across. And, I mean, his music might have been rap music, but it was coherent. You could hear them. You could hear what was being stated, and the things that were stated applied to everybody. It was a black perspective on what was wrong overall. And if you haven't listened closely or looked at the words of what that man did, I'll suggest that you take a listen, take a look, check it out. I really do like a lot of what he said. We got a problem in this country. There's too many poor people, and they're making more faster than other people can catch up. That's the idea of financial ruination. That's the idea of making you a slave to the food stamps or whatever. You own a government ticket. And when they decide to say, no, those tickets ain't good no more, what are you going to do? Have you listened to what I've stated? You got a couple of weeks, you're going to be dead zone. At least a couple of weeks. It might be a little longer than that, but a couple of weeks where they may not be deliveries of groceries in some places. And this is not going to be a disruption overall. It ain't going to be fun, I can tell you that. Now I'm going to hit you on the head with the other part of it. Everybody's got an electronic device to use financially, be that a credit card, bank card, a straight debit card, something that has been given an amount called a prepaid credit card of some sort. People got food stamp cards now. It's a credit card that tells you what's in your account and how much you can use of it and what's good for this and all that. What you going to do when that don't work? Did you think about the couple of weeks of cash? Did you think about having a little bit of junk silver in case the cash may not be acceptable in some places? I mean, did you really think about what it's like to maybe not have food? Yeah, the fast food restaurant, if it can't get food, it ain't going to stay open. It's just that simple. If there can be no bank transactions, electronic transactions, how are you going to handle business? There's going to be some extraordinary problems. And I just stipulated Neil Keenan shutting it down. The central banking system's gone. Now, there are some requirements in that people don't know about. They're going after the people that use that system, those who are in charge. There's been some things in foreign countries that were extraordinary, and I was just jumping up and down. Yes, somebody finally did it someplace. I wished it had happened here sooner, but it is going to happen here. They took a bunch of bankers, crickety mothers, for just screwing everybody as fast as they could. All right, quit scratching it, whoever's doing that. They took them to jail because they were crooks. They were stealing from the people. It's all legal-like. I want you to remember something. Lawful does not necessarily mean legal, and legal does not necessarily mean lawful. And dealing with any of these, quote, entities is probably going to be disappointing at one point or another. How can you expect to file a lawsuit in certain ways, certain types of lawsuits, when you have no standing and expect to get any results? It don't work that way. And it goes on and on. But the crux of it is this, and it's real simple. A lot of people are thumbing their nose. This guy on this website, Obama Can Kiss My Watusi, he says our. That means that everybody in there, yeah, tell him to screw off. We put the fence up. We did this. We put the building together. You know, I didn't see. Have you ever seen a government worker, a real government worker? He's usually wearing a tie. He's usually a little overweight. Have you ever seen one of them with a shovel in their hand or a hammer? I haven't seen them be willing to go any place where they get dirty, let alone do anything. It takes, you see the government worker standing there. One guy's got a shovel and he's leaning on it, and 5 guys are watching him do it. And you ask him what's going on. He says he's holding the shovel down, and we're making sure he don't fall over. I mean, how ridiculous do you want to get? What the filing that Keenan is doing is a little different. It does not allow for the existence of an entity that refuses to pay its bills according to its existence. This is a bit different. You want to look at something, look at the charter of a bank. You want to see something that is totally against you, out for its own means, for the richy rich. Look at the UN Charter. Agenda 21 is in their charter. It's part of their existence. This is what they do. Their designation is to starve us out, to take our property, to tell us we don't have any rights. Your Carl Gardner will send a SWAT team man after you. Won't you sell that raw milk? We'll raid your butt. Where does it end, ladies and gentlemen? How much is enough? When is everybody going to get mad enough to say, that's enough? I've had enough. I ain't taking it no more. We need to reach to the generations. My kids, the kids right under them, and maybe even some of the teenagers out there that don't like the world too much anyway because they're teenagers and everybody wants to control them. Oh, my goodness, here comes trouble. I can tell. How can you tell? It's a teenager. Teenagers are brain damaged. All parents and adults know this. Then I'm not saying absolutely everyone. Most of them are. The ones that ain't loaded with it so bad that it leaks out all over the place all throughout their life are the ones that have a job, the ones that take care of business and act like normal people are supposed to. And so, you got a few. And there's a few. Well, growing up is the time to experiment. Everybody knows this, and if you don't, you should have done it already. You haven't lived until you tell your daughter, don't you come home with green hair and spikes and shit. You know what she did? 1 foot long green spikes. Hey, Dad, hi. You like my hair? Yeah, that's pretty freaky looking, I thought it was funny. And I did that to see whether or not she would. Sour grapes. You can't have them grapes. Well, yes, they do, and yes, they will, and they will prove they are brain damaged by wearing green spikes on their head, a reverse mohawk, as Bill Cosby describes it in a haircut of his son. Bill Cosby is the way I raised my kids. Bill Cosby himself, he describes his kids that they're brain damaged and exactly how they act and all this other stuff, and it's extraordinarily hilarious, but it's also very true. People with good educations have children, and at one time or another, they look at the kids and they go, why did we do that? What was wrong with us? Oh, my goodness. And then yet a little later on you go, man, I'm glad you grew through that and all this. And you look at your kids, and they're grateful for you. And you go, yeah, I'm grateful that you made it. Yeah, I got a good young man here, or a good young lady, and they're actually going to be quality people. That's all. That's most that a parent could really, yeah, maybe they'll be president. Ooh, you never know, but it doesn't matter as long as they're decent about it, and as long as they're, the good people, somebody that'll help you out, somebody that, is for real. And the kids are grateful too. They know that you were nice to them and let them live. Just like my parents, I'm grateful. They didn't kill me. They probably should have. But reaching out to the generation, that one that's below, that's one that's between, we need to solidify this. And I'm asking everybody to think about that real close, because it is really, really important that we do this. We're going to need everybody. I'm too old to go chasing chickens. It's just a simple fact. I'm also a little bit too heavy to do that. And my joints and whatnot got messed up permanently in Vietnam. I doubt that I'll ever be much physically like I was. And it's, these people that go serve, and it don't matter which gender, it don't matter what basically you're doing, the requirements, because they've dumped some of the personnel, you don't have everybody you need. So that means everybody's got to work a little harder. Well, it was pretty hard on me. I was carrying pretty good weight while I was in Nam. And I got a thing called rucksack back, where the lower band that goes across the rucksack pushes on your lower back and actually tilts your spine within your pelvis. Ooh, yeah, they finally figured it out and they proved it. Somebody told this one guy that was in extraordinary pain because apparently a nerve ending got in there and his back got straightened back up by a chiropractor. And when it did, oh boy, he's about to lose it. He's got these shooting pains, and he doesn't know why. And they figured it out. They took x-rays. They did this. They did that. They did do a little bit of surgery, and they cut that nerve so he's not in pain anymore. But you prove something like that. You prove that you prove that PTSD is real. And then because of budget constraints, the VA goes about, in my case, for 20 years, it don't exist. It ain't real. Dude, quit it. And then the 20 years after they finally admitted that it did exist, run around trying to figure out ways not to pay, not to help. Now, if somebody messes somebody up, usually you're responsible to that person for some amount, or at least the help necessary to get you back to where you're supposed to be as much as possible. They're refusing. It's called personality disorder. It can be tested for. It's part of a psychological test. They've known about this for years. They found out about it shortly after Vietnam. So they knew about it before they sent anybody to Iraq and Afghanistan. And if there's any people on here that know a veteran that is not getting assistance of any kind, in terms of at least they can do is, put him in with people who have gone through it and can help him keep his thinking right so he don't have those problems, okay? That can be a professional psychologist or whatever. They won't put the bill for even that, let alone pay him anything because he's so squirrely he can't work. I mean, I would think that would go along with it, but in a lot of cases, no. What the first part of it is they knew about it before. They knew about this personality disorder, and what it is you have a tendency to pick up post-traumatic stress disorder more easily than the average person. Knowing that they can test for this and sending people anyway and then tell them, oh, no, you got a pre-existing condition, I'd like to see this one veteran find somebody that's got a little cash who's willing to pump a lawsuit into it very publicly and state, no. You think we're a joke. You think we're funny. We know we're expendable assets, but you don't have to treat us like taking out the trash either. And that's what's being done. Anybody don't know that? Start checking into it. It's all there. It's written on the VA's website. So these veterans from that war and the veterans from Vietnam, the veterans from coming wars, and there may be a couple before we get this all under control. We need to stand together, along with younger generations. We need all of everybody who likes the idea of maybe not having to be under control so much, where going out and having a good time, getting a little loud, ain't a problem or a crime of some sort. This is the kind of thing I'm shooting for. It's a justice for all thing. It's called freedom, and it applies equally. Yeah, kids need to be given a little bit of direction, but also parents love it when you turn them loose and they're going 90 miles an hour across the yard. Yahoo! And they run up and they get on the swings. They play and they raise all kind of goody stuff, and all of a sudden it starts getting quieter slowly. And you're going, and you go out there and look, and they're trying real hard to get up the slide, but they're tired. And the parents gleefully go, cool, we wore them out, and we get to have some peace and quiet. This kind of a life is what everybody should have. There's a lot of kids out there that should have had a position and condition where one of the parents, be it mom or dad, could stay with the kids, make sure the house is clean, take care of business, laundry, whatever. And the other parent made enough without too much stretch, without problems, could pay the bills. One person, not the whole family. Kid's got to work a paper route to help me pay the bills. Oh, what is up with this? And there's a problem with that. I got a problem with this minimum wage garbage. Oh, we created 400,000 jobs, and each one of them pays $1.98 an hour, and you're supposed to be able to afford to eat on that. Yeah, right. Well, injustices need to be addressed, and this is what this show is about. It's called Freedom of the Injustices. These injustices are put upon you purposely with intent, forethought, and planning by these people that we are taking issue with their existence of. These are the big bankers. These are the corporate bigwigs. These are the political oligarchs who think they rule us. And these are the people that need to be attended to. I put on the website a lot of legal documentation that explains how to go about that. Copy it down and use it. Each and any of those gives you the power to mess up their little parade. And by messing it up, I'm saying you can actually prefer charges as an individual. Okay? I want you to understand that. In the paperwork, it says it takes two. Just to make sure that something ain't changed, you get a buddy to go with you and fill out that affidavit. You do it with the local sheriff. The local sheriff presents it to a federal marshal. Federal marshal and you and the FBI go and collect the turkey. Oh, where do you put them? Well, I'd say the sheriff's probably got a jail cell somewhere. I mean, at worst, you got a janitor closet with, nice funky smells and whatnot in it. I mean, there's got to be some place. I mean, you could always wrap his arm around a big pipe and just, leave the handcuffs on him. I'll go to the bathroom. And you look at him and okay, go ahead. Treat them like they've treated you. They have taken a giant squat on what it is to have a decent life at all, done so purposely, and think it is comical. Now, if you want to go back in the archives and hear comical, I was given information. It's on CNN. They recorded it when they were putting out the money on the bailouts. You could hear the people in the back, the Richies, laughing and giggling. Oh, man, that was easy. Do it again. Ladies and gentlemen, it don't take much more than that for me to just get ballistic. That just makes me want to grease up a gun and go hunting. But I know that ain't the right way to do it. I know this. This is why we haven't had a shooting war yet, because a lot of people out there understand that ain't the the real right way to go about it. Maybe if we stripped them all naked and put them in one of those re-education FEMA-type camps, let them swat mosquitoes all night and sweat, that sort of stuff. Maybe that would do it. I don't know, but we need to put a stop to this. We got a lot of people working in the background, and they're working OT. They're working extra, and there's a combination of all levels, good guys, all levels, everything you can think of, everything I've ever mentioned, everything from somebody that's just a farmhand all the way up into the Pentagon, high level, working to make sure this comes out right. And I need to ask for you guys' help. No, I don't want your money. I just want you to take what you think you can afford to expend of yourself and see whether or not you can reach out to some people. See how that works. Actually try it. And I think we're at the top of the hour, aren't we, Denise, just about?
Yes, Drake, two more minutes. Would you like to go ahead and take a break?
Well, I was thinking about a break, and I'd like to have Minuteman start commenting on the second part of the thing, if that's possible.
Okay. We will be happy to take a break. Everyone go and have your refreshment, and Rick, wet your palate so you'll be ready to go to work here with questions. And
Yes, ma'am.
okay, we will be back in just a few minutes. Okay, welcome back, everyone. You're back with Global Voice 2012. Drake and Minuteman are with us, and I think Grammy J, are you still with us?
You got me.
Okay, honey. Her hand still won't raise, guys.
Oh, that's okay. I'm here.
All right. Minuteman, did you have anything you want to share with us before we start with any questions or anything?
Why, sure. I'm pretty sure Brother Drake wants me to kind of go into something that I've been trying to get people to realize. And that fact of, and at the sake of sounding like a broken record, forgive me, folks, but evidently people's not getting some of the concept here. And we feel like we got to keep repeating it because, well, we got new listeners coming in. And not only that, we need to spread the message about freedom, about how important it is that we learn to stand next to one another, quit beating each other up. You know, I'll sit there and look out on the internet, and I'm just watching this person poke on this one and this one kicking that one, you know. And, the way he believes, that's just bull BS, and this person's this and this person's that, and it's like, Jiminy, folks. You guys are so busy kicking and poking each other that pretty soon we're going to kick and poke ourselves around, each other around so much that it's going to be virtually impossible to get done what needs to be done. Folks, we got to put the nonsense away. We've got to get busy here. We've got to learn to reach way, way, way out. We got to reach further than we've ever reached. Now, all of us are profess time and time again how much we love our freedom. But we seem to be just a little short of getting with the other people out there that don't quite believe like we believe and saying, you know what, that's cool, that's part of freedom. You should be able to believe that way. And we can all stand together and we can get the job done. People's been coming and saying, well, when are you guys going to start arresting people? Well, we've provided the way. We've provided the safe means. But this is the thing people are forgetting here. It ain't going to be just a few people that get that done, folks. That takes a lot of support. Now, I guarantee you, if you get out there, you start talking to people, you'll find out that a lot of people would love to see some of these politicians arrested, these bankers, politicians, these people that think they are the king, the people that rob you, your friends, your family, every day of your lives. It made it impossible for some families to even be able to drive halfway across town because gas prices are so high. And boy, I'll tell you what, if they've got a job that isn't paying them well, yet they got to travel around like some construction workers I know. You know, by the time they figure out their gas bill compared to what they get paid, well, they're not bringing too much home to feed their families and pay their bills with. The next thing you know, the wife's having to get a job to cover the slack. 2 or 3 young kids at home, some of them babies. They have to either get a babysitter or go to a daycare center. So now a stranger is left raising them. Don't get me wrong, some people's lucky that their mothers and fathers are retired. So grandma and grandpa is there, maybe an aunt and uncle, where the kids get to stay with them. That's good. They're with people that love them, and the children are familiar with them, and that seems to work out okay in some respects. But really, they're still not being raised by their mother and father like their mother and father would like to. I know their mom and dads, there's mom and dads out there that love to take their kids out to the swing set, wear them out so they can relax and have, some time with each other at night and not have to worry about the kids because, well, they're so wore out they go to bed and they go to sleep. And what about the tax money that's taken from them? That never ceases to break my heart to watch a struggling family, mom and dad, working their tails off, barely making ends meet, and then go look at what's stripped of them every Friday or whenever they get paid. I've seen some of the paychecks out there, folks, and I'm noticing that their kids need this and their kids need that. I look at that paycheck thing, that stub again, and I'm like, those kids wouldn't be needing anything if mom and dad wasn't getting robbed. We all feel this, folks. And think of this. Everybody says there's a lot of Americans that ain't awake. Yeah, they are. They're awake. They're awake enough to know what I just said. We need to start getting out there, and we need to start spreading the word that, look, I don't care how you believe. If you believe in freedom, I'm going to stand with you. I've even made this quote. We even got some people that's kind of what some people consider bad out there. We've experienced them on the internet. They like to poke and kick us. We even reach out to them and tell them, look, why don't you quit it? What good is it doing you? We ain't out there kicking and poking you. So we reach out. We try to tell them, look, just stop it. Let's move forward for freedom. And that's what we need our listeners to do, is back these types of activities up. Get out there, folks. Spread the word. Please. Your freedom's on the line. It isn't the military's responsibility to go out and spread the word for you. It is law enforcement. It isn't really the government's place to spread your word of freedom out for you. That's up to you. That's your job. We need more people to get up and get out there, get to work, and do the best they can. Don't be afraid to embrace somebody that doesn't believe like you do. Don't be afraid to. Take a chance. Get in there, mosey around, communicate with them a bit. You might find out you got a little bit more in common than what you ever thought you did. I've had some people come to me and say, well, wait a minute, why are you talking to this group or this group? They're not really militia. And I'm like, well, don't you want more numbers in the militia? Yeah, but those people, they're kind of weird. And I'm like, they're Americans, aren't they? They're Americans. Don't they have a Second Amendment right? Who is anybody to tell any American they don't have any rights because of their belief? That's not cool. That's not freedom either. Those rights are to be shared equally, folks. They ain't based on your ideology. Ideologies are fun. They're great. They're part of freedom itself. But the danger of ideologies is this. If one gets too powerful, it will stomp on the others. Our founders knew this. That's why they put them rights. They enumerated them rights to make us understand we had those God-given rights. That was to keep ideologies in check. Well, folks, we went to sleep. We did. We let an ideology take hold that is now tyrannizing us. It's taking our money from us, which is our prosperity. Remember that word prosperity mentioned in the Declaration of Independence? For those of you that read it, prosperity means you were able to thrive. Not just get by with life, folks, but thrive. Do well for your families based on your ability to work. These people have stripped that from you. They've stole from you. They've lied to you. They've cheated you. That, to me, is motive to get out there and do what needs to be done. We really, really have to work harder, folks. I know there's some out there just busting their tails, and believe me, we love every one of you for it. No matter what group you're in, we don't care. And you know who you are. We ain't got to call you by name. You know how tired you feel at the end of the day, been on the internet or on the phone all day, trying to communicate to different people, doing the best you can with what you got. We need more people to jump into them places and get out there and reach to other people that's, well, not like you. They're not like you, like our young kids, like Drake was saying, our young people. You know, I was fortunate. I've got 2 sons. Now, they ain't in the age bracket that Drake mentioned. They're a little bit older than that. But, you know, at one time, they were teenagers. Yeah, you know, we all know how the teenager thing goes, folks. They like to rebel a little bit. But is it really rebellion? I would say nah. I would say that's seeking independence. They're seeking their individual independence, and it causes a ruckus for parents. It does. I happen to be lucky with my 2. Was able to reason with them. But, you know, I found out a really, really neat trick with young people. That is not to be so dead set in your ways that you can't check what they got out going on and share it with them a bit. They love it. I'm telling you, man, they get us older folks, like Drake said about music. I kind of tend to like that heavy metal, hard banging stuff, you know. My sons found out, you know, hey, wow, Dad's a headbanger, you know, and that's pretty cool. And we actually started to share each other's music and stuff. And it worked. It created a bond. Got out there and done stuff with them, you know. Shared with them a bit. Tried to understand the best I could at my age, well, how they were looking at the world today. And it worked out. I've got 2 sons now, one 27 and one 30, both wide awake. Wide awake, see the world for what it is. Try to help their dad out whenever they can. Bless their hearts. That's great. We need to do that more often, folks, with these younger children. We got to remember that they're just seeking their independence or freedom. And it's no more than that. Yeah, they've got different ways. I couldn't imagine putting earrings in myself and tattoos all over, wearing the pink and purple hair. But you want to know something? That's just their day, their time. Like when we were teenagers. Remember when we were teenagers? Didn't everybody say we were weird too? You betcha they did. We were weird. They didn't like our music. They didn't like this. They didn't like that. And all kinds of stuff. Well, some of them barriers are starting to break down. But we really need to take it a step further, as Greg said. Think about how valuable it is to have all those young minds, and they're searching. They're hungry. They're hungry for the information. I say that if we don't do something with them and try to bring them in with us to learn about real freedom, who else is going to get into their head? Well, I know that the left side of the fence, the progressive side of the fence, like Obama's crew, they love them young folks. They love to pollute their minds. Tell them, you don't need that freedom stuff. Don't worry about that Constitution. That's old business, you know. It don't do them any good. The heck with the Bill of Rights. You just trust me and come over here, young'un, and we're going to take care of you. Now, you might have to give up all them rights that you heard about those old fellas back in the 1700s enumerated. Don't pay them no mind. They don't mean nothing. If you'll surrender them rights, well, I'll do everything in the world for you. I'll make your life so cushy, the only thing you got to do is kneel. How many of you people watch that movie, The 300, where Cersei's promises the king he'll give him everything, make him the warlord of all of Greece and all these great promises, anything he wants. So all they got to do is kneel. That king refused, said, no, my freedom is worth more to me than that. I'm going to stand against you. You're going to kill me, I know that, but that's okay because history will remember me for standing against you. Now look at your history, folks. The Battle of Thermopylae. That story's still told to this day, where 300 Spartans stood against millions of Persians that were coming to take their land, take everything from them, make them slaves. We ain't got to necessarily have a Battle of Thermopylae now, folks. We got all these hungry minds out there. Got all these freedom-loving people. We can just reach them. Get out there and reach them. Communicate with them a bit. Let them know, you know, it's okay if you believe like that. I don't care. I'll still stand for your freedom. I'll stand with you for your freedom. I'll stand with you, and I'm willing to fight my battles to make sure you can believe the way you want to believe, and I can believe the way I want to believe. Just like our founders did. Our founders had to come to that conclusion. You know, there's a neat little document that I have in the PUC site. I can't remember its name right now, but I'm starting to see where it's going to be real important for me to get out there and start posting that in the website and bringing it to different patriots' attention, where our founders were smart enough to say, you know what? We don't quit fighting and arguing amongst ourselves. The king is going to get us. King of England is going to have us drinking tea, speaking English, worshiping the church he wants us to worship, blah, 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 right on down the line. Those people were smart enough to put it all away and reach across the fence. Pagan, standing next to a Christian, so on and so on. They realized that if they didn't get together, they didn't put away all this other nonsense, that they were going to get beat. That they better stand for each other's freedoms or everybody lost theirs. That's just the way it is. So, folks, as Drake asked, I'm asking too, we need some people to get out there and ride that internet horse. Saddle that internet horse up, folks. Let's go ride. Let's go reach these people. Let's talk to them. Be polite. Make them realize how much you care about their freedom. And ask them, do you care about mine? And if the answer is yes, why don't we all pull together and get our numbers up? Let's get our numbers up, folks. You know, the biggest point I keep making is if you look at all these individual groups, if they're singled out, their numbers are small. There's no way one individual ideology out there in a group will win this fight. There's no way. But hopefully we can keep this fight with words, what they call a soft war. Because, folks, if it goes into a hard war, it's going to be in your backyard. It's going to be affecting everybody you love. Everybody you love is going to be on the line. No matter where you are, either there ain't going to be too many places to hide. The object is to gather the numbers to keep it from going there. Let's win the soft war so we ain't got to fight the hard war, or do the best we can. And hey, if we gather them numbers up and we can't beat them by using the soft approach, look at the numbers you got to fight the hard. They ain't going to stand a chance, folks. I'm telling you right now, I got this big feeling inside me, as a lot of other people do, that if we can gather those numbers, our enemies that want to take our freedoms are going to say, you know, there ain't no way we can win this. There just ain't no way. We're outnumbered. We're beat. We're outnumbered. We're outgunned. We're out everything. And then they got to make a choice. Then they got to make a choice. Let's don't let them give us their destiny. I say we give them our destiny, and that destiny being free people, folks. Free people. It's up to every one of y'all, every one of our listeners tonight. I hope your ears are burning. I hope your heart's starting to feel what I'm saying, because, and what Drake said too, because for freedom, it's our prosperity, it's everything we've ever loved that is on the line. It's that important. You're not going to elect your way out of this, folks. I'm 51 years old. I've never seen an election work. I watched all these politicians get up and promise you great things just to let you down, lie to you, lie to me, lie to all of us just to get in their position of power, take advantage of it, not keep one promise that they ever make to you. I mean, I can't think of hardly any of them people in D.C. that's got one word that they've ever said. Ever. That mean you shouldn't get out and vote? Don't worry about voting? Well, no. Not what I said. I hope every listener out there votes. Nothing else, it's because it's your right. Don't let them take your rights from you. Don't let them have them. When you surrender the right, well, what does that say? I don't surrender my rights. I'm going to go vote, even though I know these polluted yahoos have done the dirtiest deeds they can to the voting process. I'm going to show them that they ain't degraded me. They ain't got me weak enough. I'm going to give up my rights. Folks, it's always up to y'all. It's your choice. That's the neat thing about being free. Do we collectively want to be free, or do we want to have a conscience of just freedom? I want to be free to have my conscience freedom. I want to live free. I want my prosperity. I want to know that if I go to work, the stuff I work for goes to my family. That's what I want. I know that's what everybody else wants out there.
Yeah,
so, folks,
they do.
Yes. It's, like I say, I'm going to leave it right there. Sorry I got to sound like a broken record sometimes, but this is important. It's probably one of the most important things you'll ever do in your life.
Yes.
So, you know, here we go. How hard are you willing to ride? Some of us are riding our horses into the dust, folks. We need your help. There's good people out there. Look, we burn one horse up, they'll give us another one.
That's true. They will. They will.
You betcha. We've got a lot of great people out there, folks. And it's not just in the Global Voice group. They're in other places. They're in Oath Keepers. They're in the tea parties. They're in all kinds
Everyone.
of yeah,
Everyone.
and everyone that believes in freedom and understands. There's a lot of people out there that ain't in no groups out of fear. Some people say that, there's a bunch of people asleep, and I don't buy that. I know they're awake. I talk to them all the time, but they don't see any hope for any groups out there because all the groups are busy fighting and poking each other, folks. Just think of the numbers that we would have if everybody that loved freedom decided in 1 week. I don't think that'll happen. Let's just look at it. Let's say next week, everybody that loved freedom got together. Man, look at the numbers we have then.
It'd be amazing.
Yeah, that's enough to scare the New World Order itself, much less our political structure here in America. That would be just earth-shaking, folks. You want to shake the earth? I can tell you how to shake the earth. You go out there and you get those freedom lovers together, this earth will shake, and it'll shake in a good way. That shake will be like a dance. Mother Earth will be celebrating, folks. They'll say, the Creator will say it's about time. That's what they'll say, it's about time.
Exactly. Well, they're shaking in their shoes.
I'm not just talking to people in the United States either. I'm talking about people all over the world. I'm talking about just my brothers and sisters here in the United States. That won't work. Yeah, it'll give us a little luxury of peace for a while until the evil cabal gets work to come back around again. I'm talking to everybody out there in the world. I don't care what country you're in. There's freedom lovers in every place of this whole planet. Find them. Bring them to the plate. And folks, I thank y'all for listening to me tonight. Been great. I'm going to hand it back to you or Grammy J.
We've got questions. They're just piling up.
Good.
Yeah, I say we go directly to your rapid-fire questions, Denise.
We will here in a minute, Grammy.
You got another announcement or something, Drake?
Well, everybody listens, wants to hear the show because they think they're going to get some inside intel all the time. Well, I could do that. And yet, what I've been asked to do is these radio shows. They want me to get the word out. And it doesn't matter about my numbers. I don't friggin' care. I really, honestly don't. I can tell you some things that Rick touched on at the end of his little speech. He mentioned the world. Well, we're in over 50 countries on the website. And when I first started putting stuff up on the website and explaining to everybody how it works, one of the first questions I got was, what about us foreign countries? What about Canada? What about the UK? What about this country? And what about that one? And my advice simply to those individuals, wherever they may be, find out about your founding documentation. If it's a treaty, it's a treaty. If it's an agreement, it's an agreement. Whatever it might be. What kind of paperwork you got to go along with that? Get your paperwork together. Study it so you know it. Then apply the same principles that we have. If need be, you change the original documentation to a point where you do have your freedom. And it states that. It says so. And it's agreeable to all the people. Government might be, and things of that nature. But what you got to remember is this. These people took my advice. There's several countries that have got a combination of both legal actions and serious problems in terms of the people themselves requiring certain things of them. One of those is modification or changes in the original documentation to provide for that freedom we've been talking about. And I'm talking about all kinds of countries, all over the place. And I'm also privileged to be able to say that some of the leadership of some of these countries is paying attention. They're listening. Some of them have actually gone to the point of going back to their people and saying, what do you think of this? Does that idea sound better than what we had before? And everybody goes, yeah, that ain't bad, man. Okay, we'll see what we can do about making it a law. We'll see what we can do about structuring the law so that it allows people to be free, at least in this particular reason. Now, as soon as we get another one, we'll come back to you. Well, I don't know the treaties. I don't know the agreements, and I do not know the foundations of most foreign countries. I got considerable fun and games trying to figure out what actually happened here in the United States. There's probably, I don't know, I'd say at least a dozen different stories as to what happened, how it came about, and who did what to who and all that. But we can smooth that out. The way the one project, our first one, where I got involved in this, stated, the 1787 Constitution, the United States Constitution, including the 13th Amendment, which had been originally on that document, by the way. Yeah, they went back and they changed history. They made the 13th Amendment changed it from titles of nobility, where someone who was a foreign agent could not even be a citizen, to something about slavery. Well, the original 13th Amendment, organic 13th Amendment, titles of nobility, was there first. Well, let's put slavery at 14 then. I don't have a problem with that. But I'm going to say that it applies to everybody in all forms of slavery, to include the financial gobbledygook that we go through now. So you want to think about freedom, being free of oppression, not having to pay 15, 10, 15, 20% of what you earn with your sweat, blood, and efforts over to somebody that thinks you're a joke to begin with anyway, and is going to try to make you pay more. That's pretty pointless. Oh, yeah, just like Rick said, they'll promise you a chicken in every pot. You ain't got a pot, we'll see about that. We'll make sure everybody's happy. Don't worry about it. Well, they'll tell you anything for your vote. Just like a big salesman will sell you something that you don't have any use for and don't need, just so he can get your money. And if you watch some of the silly commercials, they throw some reality in there, but they don't tell you the truth. Not all of it. They make a point out of the sale of the product, and some of the pharmaceuticals, some of them pills they're pushing on TV, if you listen to the problems that come along with them, you get 20 different things that's going to kill you. Your ears are going to fall off. Your nose is turned upside down. Your hair is going to curl or straighten out. I mean, and the only thing wrong with you is you got the sniffles. That's just one simple example of the mess in terms of the system, in terms of it being financially oriented, irrespective. When I was going to college, I had to sell blood, plasma as they call it, so I could survive correctly. That's horse hockey. And that was back when you had student loans and programs that will help you get through college. And now people are looking at college education as not being a good investment, either financially or realistically. How many people out there got a college education and are working in McDonald's, or they can't get a job at all? I mean, that's ridiculous. And it's done on purpose. You got to think about that. The more they get you to rely on them, the more power they got over you. Just that simple. So they flush people out. Check out to see if you got what it takes to be a refugee who can afford to rent a motel room for a week, or got some relatives that do got electricity you can go stay with, or whatever the case may be. Well, if we can drive them out that easy, then, you know, good grief, set fire to the woods, they really would run. Look at Colorado. I mean, the East Coast, the mountains over here, all they did was run some nasty thunderstorms through, and it did a number on us in terms of people being without power. There's a few that are still out of power as of this day. There's not very many, but there are also, and this goes to all of it, you get agreements with the federal government involved in your bills. You pay extra tax on your gasoline that you don't know about it. You pay extra tax. Look at the phone bill. They'll put you in phone service of $12 a month. They forget to mention that plus tax is what it says in small print, and they don't mention that the tax is $21 a month. Ooh-wee. Who's bending who over? You gotta have a license for everything. That don't fit. Ladies and gentlemen, if you can do the job, do it correctly, whatever it might be, you shouldn't have a license for it. Driver's license, only required, according to the constitutionality, only required for commercial people who drive commercially. That means that they're proficient in the idea, this is the original idea, that they are proficient in the operation of whatever it is they're driving. Heck, today it'd be a 16-wheeler. Back then it was a team of horses or mules. The IRS, it's a real mess. Not only is it a private corporation, there's no law that they can show you that says you got to pay taxes. Whoops. You learn your freedoms by learning what the limitations are. Now, I don't mean I do not pay my taxes. I pay my taxes. I also carry a driver's license. The reason for that is it's easier than arguing about it all the time, and I'd rather concentrate on this issue. And that issue is, how about we clean house so we don't got to argue about it anymore? How about we get rid of the problem, which is basically founded in our government someplace. One of them crooks got the squirrely idea that if an appropriations bill comes through allowing for housing, that each one of the congressmen and senators had a right to invest in it. That's before anybody even knows what's going on. Now, where does that leave us? If we had $10 we could put in, if the neighborhood had $200, they could put it in and maybe get I don't know, $600-800 back. That wouldn't hurt us. That wouldn't hurt our feelings. But no, we're denied that. It's like the benefits that certain people get that we don't have the right to. It's like the difference between I'm better than you just because and actually being free of that. That's all it is. So, Denise, if you want to go to questions, I think we probably could.
Okay, Drake. Yeah, we have a lot of questions. Okay, let me see. Let's get started here. All right. Goodness gracious, got to scroll. Okay, can Drake please update us on the TPP? He was all over this in weeks back, and we haven't heard anything in a while. What is the status, and should we be calling anybody about it?
I would suggest that you don't stop calling until it makes mainstream news again. It's not totally dead, but we sure put a kink in it. That's right. This stupid little radio show on the internet with only a certain limited amount of people cause problems. I heard back from some of my inside sources that little fun and games we did with the Pentagon, calling them up and saying, hey, what's wrong with you people? That they were having trouble with their phone service. Well, let's do that
Overload?
again. Well, yeah, no, I'd be overload. You can't get the business done because the phone's ringing all the time. If you can't find one number, call another one. I mean, it don't matter if you talk to the janitor and keep him from mopping the floor, that's great. If they cannot function, we win. Just that simple. This is the idea, basic idea of protest. I disagree with what you're doing, and I will interrupt what you're doing in any way, manner, shape, form, preferably by, if you can't dazzle them with brilliance, baffle them with BS. Well, guess what? BS does gum up the works. It messes up the machine. And, ladies and gentlemen, I would say we start calling about this. All of the representatives would be a good place to start because this is supposed to be a treaty. This is like that gun grab stuff from the UN. It's very similar. Only what this does, and this is going to screw your mind a little bit, you think things are bad now? Guess what? Each and every last one of the individuals involved with any of these corporations or corporate entities is going to be above each and every last law on the planet. No, 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 no. You guys need to have your own little desert island and fight it out amongst you. We don't want any part of that mess. Well, we want a piece of the mess in terms of putting our own 2 cents into the goop that's going in the machine to mess it up so it can't work right. Call everybody. You can't get hold of somebody one way, call somebody else. You could file a disagreement or a complaint with the Federal Trade Commission. Maybe these guys are using international communications and the FCC ought to cut them off. Think about the idea. Make all the complaints and noise you can. Everybody who can make a complaint. It can be frivolous, time-consuming horse hockey. A child, a kid, right? You want to have some fun with somebody? Call them up and tell them your parents ain't acting right. Okay. What do you mean they ain't acting right? Well, I can't do just everything I want to do. And right at that point, that person on the other end of the phone is going to say, really? No, there's no disagreement. You just want to be able to be a loose teenager. No, there's no problems. Or are they being mean to you? No, not really, but they just won't let me play all the time on the internet. Dad says he's got to use the computer sometimes. You know, stuff like that. It's frivolous, ridiculous. They tell me that I shouldn't be on the phone very much either. You know, I mean, normal things. Not something they can call the police about. But it's time-consuming. That means whoever you're talking to can't do something else that they might be supposed to probably be doing. That's what the Pentagon's complaint was. They were getting calls everywhere to include the janitor. And if you want to punch it out, Trans-Pacific Partnership puts all of the corporations all over the place above the law. Some people are acting like they're going along with this, only to pull out at the last minute in terms of support. There are certain points of critical support, and you have to remember the United States and its entities have been broke for some time. The only monies that they have within their capable reach is what's already in the system. So it's going to be fried one way or the other. I talked to Neil yesterday and this morning, and he's getting ready to refile his case. Denise is going to have this order to cease and desist criminal acts. Now, do you understand criminal acts? I want you to think about that. This is where the banker gets stripped of everything but his underwear and sits on the curb wondering what happened, if he gets free. Now, we took a little vote. We played with him on that level. Yeah, took a little vote to see who wanted freedom and who didn't, and whether or not we ought to do anything for the bad guys. Well, if you'll note, and you read that, and you looked at it, they didn't allow anything for the bad guys. The only thing that they were allowed was to keep their life. And that's questionable in some places, simply because of the way they've done the way they've acted and what they've done is unconscionable. You don't send people to foreign countries in military outfit because you want to make a buck off of their natural resources. That's horse hockey. That's theft. That's international theft. That's a violation of sovereignty. That's a whole bunch of things that these people need to come up on charges for. And each one of them does carry a pretty nasty charge. And a lot of these things are inescapable. Now, Eric Holder is a good example of this. Supposedly, they're getting ready to file a lawsuit. I'm waiting for that thing to hit the fan. That man is guilty of obstruction of justice. A charge of that nature within the situation of the office he holds. He can no longer hold that office. He's automatically, so to speak, removed, disbarred, however you want to look at it. He's also an attorney, and under the 13th Amendment, he couldn't be here anyway. Ooh, yeah, think about that. I know some attorneys, I know some lawyers, some legalists that are not bad guys, but they're caught in the system. Once we free the system, this is it. Once we free the system, all the rest of it we get to play with. We get to put in order. So be ready, you know, look in that direction. Everybody on this call, think about that. Think about calling somebody. Yeah, you might only have a few minutes for lunch. Well, that don't mean you can't have a conversation while you're eating a burger. It just makes you hard to understand, and the person on the other end is going to have to spend all that extra time. Do what? Well, I didn't understand that. No, oh, I'm sorry, the pickle got in the way. You know, I continue the conversation. What are you doing? I said, well, I was eating my burger for lunch. You know, be a dummy. Be a botheration. And just go from there. Now we're going to go rocket docket. Hello?
Sorry, Drake, my unmute button stuck. Okay, sorry about that. You can hear me now, right?
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Okay, so, all right, question, Drake, let's see. Can you give us some insight on emails that we've been receiving about government departments buying thousands of rounds of ammunition, and what in the hell does the NOAA and the Weather Service and Social Security and Homeland Security need with so much ammunition, if at all?
Well, it's pretty simple. They'd like to scare you. They put out an order for 4,000 pounds of nuclear materials because they're going to blow up San Francisco and Chicago, New York, and Atlanta, and whomever. That would definitely scare the people, make everybody go, oh, my goodness. The same thing as the idea here. We're going 40 caliber ammunition, everything you got. Well, now, I just got one question for you. Lately, they've been having trouble with the government paying. And I'm talking about supportive little groups, paying this little bill and that little bill. I'd like to know the manufacturer is stupid enough to supply them without half down, half on delivery, or COD for that matter. Now, if it was me, I'd get at least half down. You want the order? Fine, I'll give it to you. That's no problem. That's half down. You're going to have trouble getting the money. It's going to take you 6 months to a year. That's how messed up it is right now. That's how tight it is. It's so squeaky that only dogs can hear it, kind of thing. So you got to remember, what do they need with all that ammunition? They need to intimidate the population of the United States by saying, we're buying ammunition and S bullets for you. Cool. Next question.
Okay, let's see. All right, Drake. Due to the election fraud in the Republican primaries, the Ron Paul supporters filed a lawsuit against the RNC. In court, the RNC has stated that they basically make their own rules and can do whatever they want, including breaking their own rules. What do you think will come of this?
Well, it depends on whether or not they decide to really push it. The problem is twofold. Number one, these Republican national committees and Democratic national committees are corporations. Oops, there it goes. And George Soros owns most of it. He is not exactly the finest person I know of in terms of he represents the bad guys. That's where his money comes from. So, and I can give you an example. Nobody followed up. When I used to live in another area of the country, and the Democrats decided they were going to play games with the vote, and they dropped 8,000 votes. And I would have thought that maybe, you know, most people could pony up $5, and we could hire a dynamite lawyer and go eat him up alive. Well, come to find out, nobody cared enough to do anything about it. So 8,000 votes went down to tubes on a corporate decision. No official paperwork involved. They just said, nah, we don't think so. Then you got the fun and games of them doing anything they feel like, as you see. They can even break their own rules if they want. Where does that leave you? I mean, does that sound like a politician making promises and never coming up with them again? Does that sound like a certain supposed president that we've got that's saying this and saying that to get the office? Hey, I'm going to take care of everybody. Well, I hate for everybody, but he took care of nobody but himself. Hey, he's got donations. He's got people that help him get where he's going by giving money, donating the money through political action committees or whatever, okay? A lot of those rich people have said, I don't think so. You already screwed my investment up over here, and that was the money I was going to give you. And you expect me to give up more? What, are you crazy? Then you got the other people. Oh, Mr. Wimp himself. Romney. Oh, boy. And I got money in foreign accounts. Well, whoop-a-dee-friggin' do. I don't care that you picked the only person that's ever come up with a budget. I do care the manner in which he's got the thing structured. I don't like the fact that the idea that these people have decided that they're going to cut all of us and none of them in terms of these budget cuts for the upcoming automatic cuts. How come it don't take stuff out of your pocket? How come you don't have to pay for your own public transportation, or something? They got nothing against them. It's all, each and every last bit of it is going to cut things that people need. And I'm talking about emergency funding, not the usual standard you're in the system stuff. I'm talking about somebody comes up against a heat bill, and they're on a limited income, and there ain't no way. And the heat company knows this. The government knows this. Why don't the government increase their stuff to where they can at least pay the bills? Well, because they're going to budget cut you, because they want you totally reliant. And then they're going to screw you out of everything you got. Look at the foreclosures. Come on, people. How many times has it been proven it's all illegal? How many times has anybody really done anything about it? Once or twice? Give me a break. Next.
Okay. All right, Drake. I'm wondering about our checking accounts. Are they safe, or do we need to keep them empty? I do use a small bank.
I don't know about empty. I mean, like I said, a couple of weeks at the very least. You should have some capability of planting a garden so you'll have food to eat. And I'm dead serious about this. You people think this is funny, but it ain't, and it's coming. And you're liable.
Ready.
Well, you're gonna find that foodstuffs. There's emergency foodstuffs that will make it to spring. And this much I do know of. Okay, I have done my due diligence and looked into this. And the emergency rations are for the people, not for the troops. The troops already got theirs. It might not be nice, and if anybody has not eaten an MRE, you haven't lived. If somebody does not understand that old funny saying about Army food is really funny and probably not very good for you, you haven't eaten some of the stuff that the Army puts out and calls it good food. Now, when I was in, that's quite a long time ago, everything was pretty decent. Well, they did two things. Genetically modified frankenfoods are put into two things. Schools and government-funded eating. Means cafeterias, this means military, etc. So if you're getting it, ain't going to be good, unless it's a few years old. Somebody's whizzing in the background.
My clothes are dry, everybody.
Oh, well, thanks for sharing that, Denise.
I'm sorry, too. I couldn't make it stop. I'm sorry.
That sounds like a blonde using a smoke detector for a cooking timer.
Hey, yeah. I've been sitting here trying not to cough and just be as quiet as possible, and
then her dryer goes off.
I know, and then my dryer goes off. I'm sorry, everybody. Okay.
And this is rapid-fire questions and answers.
No,
I know.
Answers are going to get shorter because I've covered these subjects pretty well.
Yeah,
and that's the obvious. I take the first half a dozen questions. I pick some and I'll say yes or no, and that is the answer. You listen to the other answer I gave to the other person who asked a question very similar to that, you'll get the rest of the meat of it. That's the way it works. Now, we're putting in Q&A slowly, and it's taking some time. But here's the thing, okay? You got to understand, the government's out to screw you, all of us, so that they can end up in this nice little utopian world that supposedly is supposed to be there. Well, several things have been happening, and these things are going on behind the scenes. I'm hoping that a couple of the rumors that I heard from several different sources, and that's more than two, come to pass. If they do, you're finally going to see in the public some of the things I've been talking about, because mainstream media won't be able to ignore some of this stuff. Neil Keenan's getting ready to refile his lawsuit. Now, what are they going to do when they close when the government gets closed? Now, I want you to think about this. The government? Well, my goodness. How does the government figure into the central banking system? Ooh, guess where the payouts went? Think about that. Now you got an idea as to how deep the rabbit hole's getting. Okay, you want to put Christmas lights on the rabbit hole. I just put up a thing. And a lot of this is my own research. I looked it up simply because it needed to be done. I keep hearing this and that and whatever, and it talks about he who did it and certain other entities involved, and it's posted. If you're not a signatory on the original accounts in terms of having the legal authority and right to those accounts, you don't screw with what's in there. You cannot leverage, borrow, steal, or whatever most of the time. Most theft has been curtailed directly due to the efforts of Neil Keenan and certain security forces all over the world. Yeah, that's right. These bad guys hide in the woods. They've lived in those jungles forever. And they wait till you're walking by, ain't paying attention, and clunk you on the head. Or other things. So, yeah, you ain't going to get too far. They have dedicated their lives to preserving these accounts. You go after the gold, you're going to find out that there are government entities who will step in and intervene. And that's already been being done in several different places. And I would suggest that these bad guys might want to pay attention because it is serious. It has gotten serious everywhere. I want to see it a lot more serious here. I want to see these people call up Congress, call up the Senate, and ask them about the Trans-Pacific Partnership. This is supposed to be a treaty coming up. They do supposedly have to approve this. It may be worded. I didn't read parts of it that didn't seem to apply. I'm probably going to have to go back and read it. But my understanding of it is that these people are putting themselves above the law. They may have put some kind of exit clause in there where they don't have to have it approved. That's like Obama saying, oh, Congress and the Senate don't mean anything. I'm just going to appoint a judge, and there they go. Oh, good grief, man. Think about what that does. What kind of servitude do you get out of that? What happens when you find out that a couple of the justices that are already sitting have direct ties, direct ties to Obama and other people? They got their reward for taking care of business, and they're now sitting justices. Check it out. Look into it. You send it to me, and I'll post it. This person was one of the legal advisors to such and such, or actually handled the case of such and such. And now they're sitting on the bench. Oh, my, imagine that. That'd be a nice reward. Think about $100,000 or so a year, and immunity from everything. I mean, don't get no better than that, ladies and gentlemen. So, from now on, unless the question has not been asked, I'm going to go with the rocket docket. I'm going to be quick with the answers. It'll be yes or no. Review the program, look at the documents, and go from there. That's
okay.
it.
I'll try to give you the yes and no questions. Drake, are you psychic?
Yes.
Okay, because you had used the word indigo, and they wanted to know. Okay, let's see. For many years, I've noticed that street lights often turn off when I'm near them, sometimes even when I'm as far as a block or more away from them. Do you have any knowledge of what could be causing this to happen?
Yeah, an individual who is in what's called a walking trance state. That means you are in a trance, but fully alert, fully wide awake, and you simply have around you a pocket of energy. To and from that pocket of energy are energy flows, and sometimes you're going to interfere with automatically operated devices, to include burglar alarms, telephones, security systems on cars will go beep, 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 beep. I mean, it's really funny. Street lights turn on and off, and all that sort of funny stuff. Don't worry about it. Just have fun with it.
Yeah, her nephew's an electrician, and he said it had to do with magnetic field around him. Okay.
Yep.
Okay, I have what I could only describe as a crop circle, which is showing up on my hand. And the feeling is that I am not the only one that may contact you about this. I have been rubbing my finger over the impression and overran hour after hour. It is still there. What kind of compression mark would last that long?
Only one that deals with the growth of the cells themselves and or a spiritual marking. Now, my suggestion is that you find some way to color it so that it can be seen and get a photograph of it and send it to us. I have people that are expert in this area that can answer questions, and I may know what the insignia that is showing on your hand is well enough to tell you what the deal is. And we'll go from there.
Okay, and we would send that to onefreepeople@gmail.com, folks. Okay. Yep. Will the mainstream media be reporting your awesome news during the Republican convention at all?
Oh, that's a good question. I do not know. It's a good possibility that we may end up displacing some of the mainstream media. On several occasions before, certain shows and whatnot, we have beaten people like Fox News, which is mainstream media, in terms of readership, in terms of viewership, in terms of people who are interested enough to take a look. That tells me that we're doing something right. What do people want to know? We're going to get into this in more detail and more extremely in the very near future. There are things coming to me that to be published. There are things coming to me that are what you'd call classified information. Now, they got classifications where you don't hand it out to the general public, called confidential. Then above that, you got secret. That means it stays within our military group, period. You don't talk to the wife about it. Then you got top secret. That means only the people in your specific area, and by that I mean whatever area you're dealing in. You might be 3, 4, 5 of you that know about a specific project. Then you've got above top secret. These are the black ops. These are Q clearances. These are specialty items. If and only if you are directly associated with the program do you have the knowledge of what's going on. Just that simple. Some of the stuff that's going to come out is going to open some of these cans of worms that have been hidden in the closet for so long. That I guarantee you. I have added some things that some people said, you can't do that, or I get another response, that ain't classified. I said, no. Okay, you're right, that part ain't. Now, tell me the name of the present operation that's ongoing. It's been going on for years. Tell me the current name for it. Check with your people that supposedly know what they're doing. I already know what the name is. I want you to come up with it. If it's right, I'll tell you it is. If it ain't, or you can't get an answer, that makes you questionable. I still haven't heard back from them people. Next question.
Okay. Drake, do you know the actual purpose of the pyramids, and are they going to come into play, if you're allowed to say?
That's a combinational answer, and it's sort of a partially and yes and no, all at the same time. The Great Pyramids were a stability point and center mass point of the planet in terms of surface configuration. By that I mean your tectonic plates. That was the 0 point. That's where Greenwich mean should be.
Okay. All right. After the change in the short term, what will happen to food prices, inflation? Will things get really inflated, and our ability to afford and access medical care?
Yes and yes. Right at first, you're going to have problems. I don't know if you noticed, but the Agriculture Department and a few others have said, and along with a whole bunch of farmers are saying, dude, you know, I don't know what you're going to do with that corn, but it ain't worth 10 cents. It just ain't. So what you've got is you got a 50% rise in the price of corn wholesale. That means that everything made with corn syrup or products related to corn, to include ethanol, is going to get extraordinarily expensive. Well, first of all, ethanol ain't good for your car. Secondly, it causes the mileage to go down. So my suggestion would be to have certain gas stations say, no more ethanol, just straight gas. That would help answer part of the problem. Number two, there are ways to control the weather. And I'm going to tell you right now, right dead in your face, that's the reason for the drought and the other problems, the high heat ranges, et cetera, that we have been experiencing. It's been being done on purpose. I want you to think about that. They will roast you. They will starve you out. They will burn you down like they did in Colorado. They run you out with really odd, funny-looking thunderstorms like they did over here in the East Coast. They will do anything to cause you to become a refugee. So, consider that. They don't care about you. They care about power and or money. Money does equate to power in some ways. If they control it, well, then we can control anything. Yeah, right. Well, guess what? We're about to dry up the money. Now, where's that going to leave you with your fun and games? Number two, a whole bunch of you going to jail. Well, that's sort of going to screw up your little plans for having a little RICO statute corporation, ain't it? We're closing down the IRS. I mean,
Yep.
So catch up, guys. I mean, this is, and these things are going ongoing. There are a lot of things that you don't see that I have heard about. It's in the background, and you're not going to see it. Mainstream media is going to have to, at one point or another, start acknowledging certain facts. Now, I will tell you that Fox News has put some stuff out. So has CBS. These are kind of hit and misses. It's time for somebody to get on mainstream media. It's pretty close to that right now, in my opinion, and say, hey, here's what they've been doing, and it's time to turn them off. It's time to not run them out of town, run them into some kind of prison cell. Now, I have heard several different plans are in operation and about to be executed. Some of those will take out these guys that are the bad guys that have been in control, that hold political office, etc. And that goes to the mass arrests, and it's getting closer to the time where the people that would be doing this don't have a choice but to do it. So you're going to have to hang in there. I don't know exactly when on some of it. I know there's some fun and games coming real soon. I don't know how soon. And I ain't going to say a couple of weeks, so everybody gets upset when I say a couple of weeks. And it goes 1 minute, weeks, and they go, it gets old, it really does. So I don't know exactly when, because I have not been told certain things. I'm not going to mess up their plans. If they can pull it off that quick, more power to them. But what I'm saying is that certain points, when you get to a certain point and certain things start happening, the mainstream media cannot and will not be able to any longer ignore it. Now, if you watch the ticker tape under some of these places like Bloomberg and some others, you'll find out, if you watch Bloomberg specifically, they deal in foreign markets a lot. And you can find out what's going on in Asia. You can find out what's going on in Europe. Just watch the ticker tape. See who's buying who out. Okay, all these billions of dollars, they're not getting nothing in return. You do not buy a failing company for top dollar. I don't care. I think you are. That's stupid. That's like credit default swaps are at 100% value. Give me a break. They're worth maybe 35, 40%, and you shouldn't pay more than 20. I don't care who you might think you are. I don't care who says so. And anybody who says so, now you know what side they're working for. Pretty simple. So, figure it out and run with it. I mean, and make those phone calls. I'm dead serious about that. Call up and ask about TPP. Yeah, I'm hot about it. Yeah, I've been doing things behind the scenes that I haven't said anything about on the Internet, asking certain people, can you get me a copy of this? Show me what you got over here. Can I find out about this? And a lot of this right now are parts and pieces of ongoing operations and efforts to set us free. So I'm not going to screw with it. And I'm not going to out it, and I'm not going to hint about too much of what it is. But yeah, it's got to do with finance. It's got to do with tactical. There's a whole lot of things go into the breadbasket. Here we go with the rockets again.
Okay. This rocket isn't launched yet. Okay. Could Obama pardon politicians arrested by Interpol and such?
Not if he's one of them.
Yeah, because the next question was, could Obama himself be pardoned, however, by a new incoming president?
Not if the guy doesn't want somebody to string him up and use him for a Christmas decoration in a park somewhere.
Okay. Are the two timelines strictly tied to humans and not affecting other civilizations in other distant systems?
No, and I'm going to qualify that. our country is a keystone to freedom on this planet. We are the only country that actually wrote that word into our founding documents that I know of. Others hint about it, but they don't say, yeah, you're a free country. Along with that, just to give you the structure, our planet is a keystone planet to the rest of all of it. Either we win or everybody loses. And I mean the whole bit of it. Thousands, millions of worlds get to experience the darkness that we've been under, and worse. And even worse than you can imagine for the rest of eternity if we do not rise up the bow, play the fiddle hard, oil up your guns, make sure they're ready to go, and do whatever we can, talking to everybody we come across, no matter who that might be, as to freedom. Just like Rick said, freedom. That's the keystone. That keystone is the God-given right to believe or not, as you so choose. That choice is your freedom. And it don't matter. It does not matter if a belief system is a little bit different than somebody else's, or their skin color, or their nationality, or I don't care. I've been in a foxhole, and I've been in a foxhole with a whole bunch of different people, and I'm telling you, as long as that man is willing to shoot at the enemy, we're friends, period. Sometimes there were conscientious objectors, and I defended them. That was what I was supposed to do. Eventually, I got somebody, if I needed it, I'd get somebody in there who would shoot. And what was nice was he'd load the magazines. He disagreed with the idea of pulling the trigger, but he'd load the magazines at least. I mean, he wanted to stay alive, and that was part of the reason. But the motivation should be freedom, not just for me, but everybody. The nation being a keystone state of existence on the planet, and the planet being the keystone planet to the rest of the universe. We're making strides in a lot of progress, but we're not quite there yet. We got a ways to go. So we need to get it done, and by get her done, I mean as fast as possible, as smoothly and easily as possible, so we don't have to go stretching a week or two into 3 weeks. We need to make sure the supply chains work, the groceries is delivered, and the gas station gets gas, so we can continue with our lives and progress. Once we set it free, think about the raise you're getting. Taxes run 20% or more. Think about that. Think about some of these people making 50% of taxes. Think about half of what you got going for taxes. Ooh. Think about what kind of a raise that'd be. How many jobs could a rich person produce if they had an extra $100 million? Think about that. What are they going to do with it? They're going to try to make money with it. How are they going to do that? They're going to create a combination of manufacturing and or investment entities that people have to work at in order for it to work. They can't do it. I can't do what the whole audience does. I'm just a voice. I'm just one person. I do what I can. This shows one part of that, but I need all of you to do what you can. This is the manner in which you invest, and I mean invest everything you got into that little word, freedom, and get the word out. And it don't matter who you talk to or who you bring along. It doesn't matter. As long as you get more people to be aware so they can tell others. And tell them, the only reason I want you to understand this is so you can go tell somebody. Really? You don't want nothing from me? No, I don't want membership. I don't want dues. You ain't getting no cards, and I ain't going to play games with you. But we can definitely talk about freedom. Going back to the 50s the way it was, where you could be pretty much, to a large extent, pretty free. So, there you go.
Okay, Drake, will the Iraqi dinar revalue before or after the Tampa GOP nomination?
After.
Okay. Let's see. The tanks that were all supposedly moving towards the border, they saw some in the south. They didn't really see any up near Canada, but now they're not seeing any movement. Why would that be?
Well, maybe they got everybody where they're supposed to be and everything's in place, and they're waiting on a word to come out of the bushes. You can walk right by a special forces guy in the woods and not know he's there.
Okay. Yeah, because then the next question.
I used to train these guys. Believe me, they can hide stuff. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah, because the next question or comment, I guess, is John Moore, M-O-O-R-E, reported that there is approximately 65,000 Russian troops in Canada at this moment, along with Chinese troops in Mexico. Both have armored divisions as well. Any truth to that?
Yes. Now, here's the problem. You're going to find that China and Russia both are our allies. Now, I want you to remember something, and this was at the beginning of the show. I read you a little thing that's posted on the website, AmericanNationalMilitia.com. Okay, it states that Putin, the leader of the free world, think about that real close. He actually got somebody that will make decisions and stand by them. Protector of sovereign rights has been interested in knowing all about what's going on. Well, this is one of the reasons I posted it. This is one of the reasons I put it out on this show. And the third part of it is, I want you all to realize something. Russia has been legally reconfigured, redone, rewritten in terms of its basis. The manner in which it exists has been revamped towards a free country. They are slowly lightening up on turning the people into a free people, similar to what we got here. Very similar. Only one problem. Bankers, oligarchs, bad guys, whatever you want to call them, stand in the way. Now, I want you to also understand that some of these thieves, Lil Wanta being in particular, access to the collateral accounts, stole enough money to try to upset the apple carts. One of the main things they wanted to take down was Russia. Now you know where the money came from. Then when they moved that money to another place to try to do the same thing, it got seized. Now, this is another crook taken from another crook. But it proved to be one of the worst decisions made. The seizure has caused the bad guys not to be able to use that money. Oh, they'd love to get their skinners on it. They've been trying for a long time. And one has been working with them. He is one of them. Don't mistake that. So you got crooks stealing from crooks, and due to that fact, they messed up their own mess kit, which is fine with me. That's good to see that they don't know really that well what they're doing, to whom, and what the structure really is. Shortly, they're going to have to deal with that. So, you know, this is what I'm saying. Keep your ear to the ground. You hear rumblings. That means that it might be a good idea to make sure that you got your gun handy. It might be that you just simply want to go home and hang out there for a while. But you got a combination of financial, tactical, and sociological changes, and they're all going to kind of swoop down together. It's going to be a friggin' nightmare in terms of mess of, my goodness, look at them, there they go again. And they'd be chasing some bad guy through the woods. He'd be hollering and screaming, trying to get away, and the military would be going, I got you, come here, and be snatching them up. Along with us. Oh, I can run faster than that guy. Yeah, here we go. This is going to take a combination of all the citizenry and all of the military that we've got available. It's going to take a combination of the will to make sure that it goes through, you get her finished, get her done, to the extent that you have gotten rid of the bad guys. Every time you discover one, put his butt in jail. I mean, after the fact, you're going to be pretty carte blanche, be pretty open, pretty accessible to being able to enforce things. But that's basically what you got to do, and these are some of the scenarios. Putin actually is much more of a leader of freedom than any other country I know of. China and Russia, they're close together, and they have worked out some agreements. It's been recent. These agreements are not well known. You have to look them up. But they're there. They have been reported on very loosely and generally. But when you got Russia and China in agreement, you got a dynamic, powerhouse, industrialist nation. And you got a farm-oriented, extraordinarily populated country. You put those two together. How many AK-47s can Russia produce? Ooh, think about that. How many Chinese soldiers would look at carrying one as being a cool thing to do. I'll tell you right now, the AK-47, its basic gun, is as reliable as anything else on the planet. And I've seen those things operate under conditions you wouldn't believe. M16s won't do it, and M14s wouldn't do it, and I tried a carbine. It wouldn't do it. I tested all three of them because I had them available. Took the AK and did the same thing to it and worse. It worked just fine. I said, man, well, I guess I know what I want to carry. So, you know, you got to think, now, why are they closing the southern border with the tanks? I'll tell you why. Because the people in Mexico, their officials, have decided that the Controlled Substance Act is something the United States needs to deal with, and they're not fooling with it any longer. Okay, why aren't they fooling with it? Because their military, and they've been trying for a while, has not been able to get a handle on it. They cannot take it by force because they can't figure out which one of these guys is the bad guy. So you got a choice. You either get bought off by them, or you make it legal so that there's no profit in it. One of the two. They're going to be making it legal, just like we probably should consider in terms of some things. However, if a country that is your neighbor decides to opt out of the drug treaty, as it's known, then you have the legal right to close that border, period. I don't know if there's going to be no trade and no crossing. I don't know what's going to happen yet. But I do know that it's going to be closed. Now, the Russian troops are the special forces that have been training with us for a while. And I'm going to explain something about that. It's two standing orders while they were in our country. One was to be cooperative and non-combative with the people who were training them and the other cadre. The other order was a secret one given to them individually, in quiet, specifically stating that if there was sudden uprising, a revolution give you, or, you know, whatever you want to kind of take you want to put on it, that they were to stand with the people. Now, you think it over real close. They were to stand with the people. That means they're on our side. Now, that means that they may or may not, the ones in Canada, be on our side at this point. We do have forces. It's called NORTHCOM. They're up there in the woods and stand opposed to them, I would hope. So these are some of the things that I've been working on, trying to find out the skinny on it. And hopefully, in the next few days, I have some word. As soon as I get word of these things, I'll either put it on this radio broadcast, or I'll post it on the website, or both. So I will get the word out. If it's something that's critical, we've already got it set up for emergency broadcast. This includes shortwave, AM, FM, TV stations, both cable and broadcast. So I want you to understand that. This is all set up. Everything's ready to go. It's not a strategic or tactical problem. It's ready to go. And it's ready to go ahead of time. I always found it's best to have your magazine loaded before you need to shoot your gun. So I got the magazines loaded. Everything's in order. And all we have to do is be given the word. And all of this stuff, anything that you need to know in terms of emergency broadcast, and I'm sure you heard the emergency weather broadcast. Well, that's pretty much what you're going to get, something similar to that. And then you're going to get emergency instructions. Here's what we need done and where we need it done. We're going to now, after we have given this general order, switch over to your local or more local stations in your individual states so that you can understand what is going on. Bingo. Think about that. So that's the setup that we got right now. Next question.
Ready for the next rapid fire question, Drake? Okay, let's see. Do some of us come here, Drake, to Earth to be renegade to help with lifting vibrations?
Absolutely.
Okay.
A lot of them.
A lot of us. Okay. Let's see. My question is regarding all the work we're doing. Do you feel that no matter what we are going to prevail, is there any chance that the higher-ups could still win?
No. And I will qualify that by stipulating that I've covered finance. They're broke. I've stipulated this by looking at the numbers in terms of population, in terms of people who would side with freedom. You're talking 75% or better of the military at the very least, and you're talking probably half or more of the population of the United States. Those who are not actively involved right now or hadn't heard about it would be wanting to know, what the heck's going on, man? Hey, we're going to be free. Let's go. And you're going to have like 90% of the population saying, yeah, that sounds good to me. What do you mean? You're going to stop taxes? Hell yes. Where do I sign? Where do I join up? And off and down the road you go.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay, next one is, I have a question. I'm confused. Last week Drake said that something huge would happen in in just a few days or within 2 weeks. Now a week has gone by and we're told that there's something big going to happen at the National Convention. Are these references to two separate events or something huge happening at one event?
You're going to have a combination of them. I just got the time frames on some of these things that I was talking about, definitely. And just because everybody seems to think that right down to the very second when it turns, he said it on 2:35, and, you know, it turns 2:35, and it doesn't happen, and I'm, oh, boy, he must be working for the government as an agent or something. You know, I keep hearing this garbage. Okay, here's how it is. You got some things coming. They're going to be pretty big. You're going to find some monstrous things if what I have been told does indeed take place.
Okay.
I've not been fully assured for two reasons. I don't want nobody to know that you're doing it. That's one. So you don't send it through channels. You don't talk to people about it. If they tell me not to put it out, I won't anyway. But just the insecurity of sending these things through channels of communication are definitely dangerous. You know, people do tap phones and internets, and so consequently, a lot of this stuff is being held close, and it's going to be kept that way until after whatever it is supposed to happen does. And I'm going to leave it real general like that so that everybody can kind of wonder about it. But think about a positive result. What to you would be positive? Having a lot of politicians go to jail? Having the ascension start a little early? Finding out that some of these people that have been getting away with anything they felt like were no longer capable of doing that. I mean, you know, think of something. What is it? And visualize that, and it'll help us. In between visualizations and getting a drink of water or a cold beer, make a phone call to somebody and find out what TPP is going on. What is this? I heard you all getting ready to mess us up again. And see what they got to say.
Okay. Next one, Drake, is will the announcement still be made at the Republican convention? I saw an article that Donald Trump was going to make an announcement, and now he's backed out. Was it Donald Trump?
I heard several different possibilities on that, and I'll let that ride because things do change, and I'm not sure, to be honest with you, but I had heard that there's going to be some sort of extraordinary announcement. What exactly that's going to be, I was not told.
Okay. Let's see. Question for Drake. If the foreign troops are there on the borders as you claim, how come no confirmation? Especially like Ustream. Usually people, you know, with the internet bloggers and stuff are out there and they're reporting, you know, tanks.
You get anywhere near that and you will be absconded with. Any electronic equipment you carry will be confiscated. And you'll be lucky to be turned loose. Number two.
Okay.
If you got a drone we can borrow or a small plane you feel real froggy about flying around up there with, more power to you. Any other way to do it that I know of might be a problem. Now, if you fly a small plane or a drone, I doubt you can get a hold of a drone, but some people have extraordinary capabilities. If you fly a drone or an airplane up through there, don't be surprised if it gets shot down. I would not put that past some of the tensions that are going on. Now, it could be, it very well could be, that this is all horse hockey. I want you to think about that. What better way to make people go, ooh, than to, oh, China's already got a whole fleet right in the Pacific right there, right off our shores. No. They've already delivered several divisions of tanks. Really? Don't you think that somebody in the San Diego area would probably have seen that? Okay. And there are people watching. There are people watching close all the way around. The militias have eyes with boots on the ground all over the place, looking. And they did this at my request and my recommendation. I need people to keep an eye on stuff so that we know what's happening. So far, we've not seen any kind of extraordinary amount of Russian troops, as far as I can tell. I'd love to have the video, and hopefully it ain't going to be doctored or played with. I'd love to see some kind of direct, serious. I was just up there, dude. You look at this video and you decide for yourself, and they show the Russian troops right across the Canadian border. I mean, it takes a photo lens. Now, the other part is that in the security of the border, you're going to have our troops on our side trying to make sure nobody is sneaking around showing off their positions. And if they don't know what you're photographing, you don't end up with a camera. You come out of there with nothing. So you're going to have to be really interestingly sneaky to get this done, probably. And, you know, play by ear. If somebody out there in Gaga land can do it, do it. We will definitely broadcast it.
Okay. Drake, do you know of a good Internet source for what is really going on in Europe? Glenn Beck has reported that France is now having serious riots due to a 45% unemployment rate. He got that from Australian news, not in America. We need a good source for news about what's going on in Europe.
I would go to the individual countries that you get reports on and look at their newspapers. Look at their local news.
Okay.
It might be in French now, or German, or wherever it's at. And bear that in mind. But you can hit the little translate on a lot of these and get the English version. And it generally will get reported. Now, there's also a combination of websites and blogs in each one of these countries that you can check with. I know because they show up on the website. They read our material. And they have learned a lot of the things that they needed to know to set their country free from our taking our action here. This is where our global reach comes in. There's 50-some countries paying attention. So they listen to what you're saying. They listen to these questions, listen to the answers, and they go from there. Next.
Yep. If the cabal likes to fool with elections, how did Putin get elected?
Well, he sort of took the trash out, and I'll say this because I know it to be a fact, because I've talked to some people that work in the Secret Service in Russia. And those people told me that the people who are playing games in terms of the writing, about 99% of those, I'd say 90%, we'll give 10% an opportunity, were foreign entities, foreign agents paid to be there to cause disruptions. So they come down pretty hard on them. Okay? After they got done coming down on them, then they decided, okay, now we are going to selectively go around and clean up the rest of them. They made sure as to where an individual was saying that they were staying, and they checked with that individual. They checked their credentials and found out that they have been some kind of foreign power entity or agent. Off and down the road to go. Now, there's an opportunity in Russia that you don't have in other places, and that's to stay in their gulag. And you can get lost in them things for life. You go in there and just sort of disappear in the crowd and never come out again. You remember the concentration camps? Think about it. That's how nasty they can get in some places. We do the same thing in foreign countries because people have rights here, and if it ever came out that we were doing that, ooh. So those rights have been reassured. So long as you do not attack a free state, that free state will do everything in its power to assist you and help you have a fun time, cool visit, whatever. However, if you come in order to attack a free state, that free state's going to stomp on you hard as it can. Now, a lot of people don't understand this, but the people that come in here totally illegally from foreign countries, a lot of them, they know who they are, they know where they're at, and they're watching. That means that when they get out of line, they're ready to stomp on them. This way you do not have a foreign agent paid where it's 100 of their dollars to one of ours. We're willing to give them, I'll give you $100,000 cash, American, if you'll go do this. Or they take somebody and turn them into a Manchurian candidate that's a brainwashed whatever. You flip it switch and it goes shooting at people. You got those two scenarios. They're very real. So, you know.
Okay.
Go from there.
Okay. Next question is, will communications with AMDOC stop? AMDOC.
That's a good question. It has not been told to me yet. I understand that communications in within the country will not be interfered with. Communications outside of the country over a period of time, and my understanding is it's supposed to be a 72-hour deal. All traffic in and out will be stopped. Period. For the period of time it takes for everybody to get rounded up. If they have that mass arrest scenario, we'll see.
Okay. Drake, you keep telling us about extraordinary events about to happen before the end of the year, but you still haven't divulged anything, and you refuse to let us know or be more specific. Is there any way that you will ever be able to tell us something more that will help us to prepare?
Well, if you'll review the past shows, you'll find out that I did a whole bunch of things on these past shows, different general themes that run through them. The last two shows were primarily designed to cause people to be able to control their own destinies by using the power of creation and the powers of the Creator. The reason for that is that had been a combinational request by more than one entity. The reason that I have posted as much of the information as is possible is to also satisfy the curiosity and need to have documentation, and I understand that. Now, as far as outing something before it happens, I don't know if anybody noticed, but it seems like over the last couple days that the air cleared, that when you walk outside it's got more of a crispy, clean, springtime smell to it. And we're in the end of summer. I don't know, about you, but that would seem to me to be extraordinary. Now, you want to go a step further than that? My understanding is that we're supposed to have all kinds of heavenly bodies being headed our direction, and that they're supposed to be visiting and all this other stuff. And from what I've heard, there's not going to be anything near what everybody's thinking. You're going to find, though, that these, the ones that do fly by, are going to create events that, from what I understand, will make the atmosphere even cleaner, more pristine, make you feel a little better, like some of that static and weight has been lifted from your shoulders, kind of thing. You'll find you'll be able to sleep peacefully. There's a lot of different things that are happening. In other words, I mentioned earlier that the ascendancy is beginning to start. Well, it started about 2 months ago, 2.5 months ago, in terms of actual physical fact. And we're just now getting to the point where it's gotten a momentum that you can actually notice. You'll notice that, as I said, the static, the push against you has gone, or is going, or is lessening. That's a major accomplishment. Now, you think about that completing itself. You think about we're supposed to have crazy things happen. And, yeah, there's going to be some far out things, but it's not going to be destructive. Instead of an ending, you're going to get a beginning. I'm asking everybody to review the past two shows. Think about what's said. Apply it. Actually get to where you're familiar with what's going on. If you got something in your life that bothers you and you want it to change, get a picture of what you want it to be, and push that out as the most important thing in your whole life. See that happening. See yourself being in it. See the situation change. And it will. Next question.
Okay. All right, Drake. I'm going to bring Paul Beener on to help answer this next question.
Hey.
Paul, are you live?
Yeah,
Can you hear
I think I am. Hello.
Yeah, there you go.
Hey,
Yeah, I'm asking you. Excuse me. Okay. Okay. The next question, Drake, and the reason I brought Paul Beener on the line was the next question is, are you going to have a simulcast with Tony Boutros, as was discussed last program?
Well, bloody likely.
Do you want to jump on that, Paul, or do you want me to put my foot in it?
Oh, man, we had a 1 hour and 33-minute conference call last night, and it was about setting up the simulcast and picking the date and getting everything set up, and it turned into basically one big dickering ditch fest because things were being changed at the last minute. Okay, what was agreed to is no longer what's acceptable, and no, it's going to be an interview. It's not going to be a simulcast. So it basically left with them hanging up on me, and I don't think it's going to happen, really.
Well,
yes, and it's being posted that Drake backed out. Drake was not even on the conference call, and it's being posted.
That's an absolute fact. That's an absolute fabrication because the first 20 seconds of the call he started being attacking, and he was being confrontational right from the very beginning. He said he opted out of doing the program within 45 seconds of the call starting. And he was told by both Denise and myself, if it's not going to be a simulcast, it's not happening. That was the deal. That was a conditional acceptance on Drake's part. And if he wanted to change that, it wasn't going to happen. So.
Okay. Now, I'm going to suggest something to everybody that's listening, and I want everybody to understand this very clearly. If you want to figure out a way to have a show with me, I'm probably open to it. Even if you disagree with my taking up your oxygen, doesn't really matter. I would suggest that the subject be about the subjects discussed, the outings that have been made, documents posted, etc. I will further state that I will not do, and this is open for public discussion. If somebody wants to ask, go ahead. It won't do you no good, and I'll tell you why. This is Denise's radio program, not mine. She allowed me to come over here because the place where I was at was no longer capable of my association. There were things going on that I had no idea about that I still don't even care to want to know. A lot of the people that were associated with that first program are involved with Boutros. A lot of these people were involved with some of the other projects, and they seem to take exception to the fact that they are not in charge. They do not have an audience, and they don't get to be on the show. Now, I'll say this again. Tony tried to pull some things on me on several different occasions. He's called in on this show.
Every show.
When he decided to be stupid, I cut him off at the knees. People say I ain't talking to Neil Keenan. Well, yeah, you're not going to see Neil Keenan's email address on these things. That's the first thing I scrub off there. But Neil Keenan to Drake Bailey. And they're posted. There's something you don't like about that or can't handle that, get in touch with Neil Keenan. Go ahead. Try. See if you can. He contacted me because he wanted to have this open forum to be able to discuss some of the things that were going on and get it out there the right way. That's what this first posting was. The second posting is going to be the documentation from Neil Keenan to me today to be posted so everybody knows what was done and what's real and what isn't. When I first posted the first set of documents, within 24 hours, certain CIA, MI5, and other agency people already had a doctored, fabricated forgery online, and were putting it out. They didn't send it to me. They knew better. But I found out about it when I saw this stuff on another place, and I said, "No, wait a minute. No. So I told the man, I said, I'll tell you what I've got posted came directly from Neil Keenan. Those are copies, digital copies of the originals, pretty much. Okay? You saw them. They've been up for a while. Well, we got a new set today that is in color this time, not black and white, Now, all of the legal documentation, other than the original documents themselves, signed back in the 60s and whatnot, the ones that were signed back in the 60s did have colored paper. The ones today are on white. Now, that's just how it is. Anybody put something else out there is full of it. And I mean that quite literally. It's a forgery. If it does not come, you want to see it, I will put it on the website. If it's some kind of documentation dealing with either something I can share with them about the military or the finance or the base structure in terms of governmental positioning for not only ourselves, the people that listen to this, going on.
Thunderstorm, sorry guys.
Yeah, that sets things off. So what you have to understand is that this is one of the things I have expressed. I said, well, I'm sorry, either you want to do business with this in terms of doing things correctly, or I need the documentation on stuff. That I require this of people. When they want to out something, I said, show me the documentation. You got a military order or something? That'd work, even if it's just a copy. Now, in some cases where you have to submit paperwork to court, it's got to be the hard copy. The pictures that are going to come up are the hard copies. They're held by Neil Keenan. And I want everybody to take a good, close look at it. It goes right back to the origins. It also explains order to cease and desist criminal acts on the very front pages. It explains exactly what they've been doing, exactly what their responsibilities were, according to the treaties and agreements they signed. These people are in the trick bag. They put themselves there. So they're going to be taken down. This includes all the individuals that are involved in it. So, big house cleaning coming. The other part is criticism is open. Well, I'm not sure if I believe that. Well, okay. What part of it? What is it that makes you have a problem with believing it? Well, you ain't got no documentation. Really? Well, I offer this. I don't think you'll see another website. I don't think you'll find another radio program that offers what this one does. Just that simple. And we don't charge for it like a bunch of other people do. It's gratis. Why? I think the people deserve freedom. And I'm not charging nobody for their freedom, period. You ain't got to sign up. You ain't got to do nothing. You just get on the website, copy whatever you want. And it ain't a problem. If somebody wants to have a simulcast exchange of information and questioning and exception, I don't believe that, why don't I believe that, because da-da-da, I will come back with, well, here's why you should, da-da-da. And if it's an opinion, we go to the next one. And it could very well be a situation similar to that. I'm not going to out these people. It costs them their lives. I'm not going to screw up the operations that are setting us free. It's in process, folks. You got to get ready. I mean, it's coming. You don't want it to jump up and bite you on the butt or slap you in the face, go, wake up. Well, this is part of the reason for the program. It's preparatory. It gets you ready to be free. It sets the tone for things. Yeah, at one point, we needed to be ready with our arms. And I'm not going to tell you to put them down either. Keep that sucker loaded and keep it close. Bring your gun with you. Don't give them the opportunity to sandbag you. You've got an extraordinary core, huge number of inside informationalists that work for the bad guys, and they'll give you part of the story, or they'll twist it just a little bit, and everybody in the agency will know. Oh, he's feeding you something. Why? Well, I run it past people before I post things. People that are for real, that are on my side, that believe in freedom, and are doing anything they can to help. And then there's a variety of these different people. And I'm told what is, what isn't, who's good, who ain't, who they working for. I can even tell some of them their boss's name if they want to get down to the nitty-gritty about it. I hope I don't have to go that far, but I will. And I don't think they want to have that on some kind of radio program. I really don't. So I refrain from it. There are two reasons for that. It might have a tendency to give them a direction as to figuring out where I got the information, and then that person's in jeopardy. That's one. Number two, the information might mess with something that's an ongoing situation that they don't want any information out on, because it might gum up the works. I want our stuff to work. I want to stop their machine. And as I said, call them up. Next.
Drake, Paul had another comment he wanted to make there.
Go for it.
Well, I just wanted to make a comment in general that anybody that submits a interview request to Drake or poses a challenge to Drake, they can expect that it will be a simulcast on not only their radio program but also Global Voice 2012. And the way it'll be set up is with individual or with independent link up through a third system, i.e. my radio program. So it would actually be triple cast, and neither side would be able to mute the other, so there's no potential for anyone taking control of the program or trying to steer the outcome. But just expect it. It will be a multicast. So if you're going to ask, that's the answer you're going to get. And if that's not okay, you might as well not even ask, because you'd be wasting your breath and our time. So.
And we would like to, yes, and we would like to thank you, Paul, for conducting what was supposed to have been a conference call to set up the simulcast and do that for us. And offering to be a moderator in all fairness to whomever might want to, do this with Drake. Drake is more than accommodating and would be more than happy to speak to just about anyone. He's not trying to hide anything. So, we want to thank you, Paul, for being there to help us to do that in a fair and impartial manner. Now, we have about 2 minutes left. I would like to play a closing song if we would like. And Drake and Minuteman and Grammy J, if you could hang on a little bit longer, we might be able to take a few more of these questions. We didn't get a whole lot of questions answered this evening. But again, of course, I don't know that the electrical storm may not cut us off, but we can try if that would be all right. And if you want to make some closing, okay. Do you want to make some closing statements?
I would just like to say, may the Great Spirit bless you and your loved ones and our planet and beyond.
Okay, and Drake?
You know what mine's going to be. Get her done.
Get her done. Minuteman.
Yeah, I want to thank everybody for listening to me tonight and listening to Drake and listening to Grammy J. And, well, hey, folks, let's get out there and, like Drake said, get her done.
Okay. Our callers, if you stay on the line, we should still be able to get some of your questions, but we are going off the air in about 1.5 minutes. Oh, excuse me, the operator just told me 90 seconds.
GlobalVoiceRadio.net is continuing the stream if anybody wants to listen to overtime. So during the song, just switch over to GlobalVoiceRadio.net, click on Listen Now, and you'll be able to pick up the stream from there.
Okay, so our listeners can do that too. And callers, you can stay on the line. So we are going to take, with that, about a 4.5-5-minute break while I play a song, and thank you. Thank you all for being with us, and we will be back again on next Sunday, if not before. And thank you all for being a part of the Global Voice 2012. We are the world, people. We are the world. Drake, do you want me to go ahead and continue with some of these questions?
Of course.
Okay. Let's see. Why do these turkeys all just get lawsuits instead of being arrested?
We need them out of functional capability. We need to adjudicate them so that they can be removed from their office so that they can't do any other nasty things. And by that I mean that they could all get together and probably offer legislation or special powers or whatever to gum up the works. We want this to go smoothly, and we want it to be righteous. One of the righteousness takes is that the people involved in this, however bad you might need to shoot somebody or however bad they might deserve it, don't do it. You want these people to suffer like you have, feed them some jail food for a while. They'll love it.
Right. Why hasn't Romney been arrested? Isn't asking for donations when you're running for office, especially in foreign countries, against the law?
Well, isn't that interesting? If you know somebody that's got some cash and they'd like to file a lawsuit, go for it. He has not made the full financial disclosure required, among other things. Therefore, I'd say the boy's about as illegal as the one we already got. Next.
Can you discuss September disaster emergency planning? Is there anything that we should be concerned of?
Well, part of that is due to the changes coming that may or may not be partially, and I mean in a small way, a little bit of a problem. Now, some of the things on this planet are going to adjust, and I'm going to clue you in on one. We got something coming, and something's going to happen on a Thursday, either tomorrow or next week. I heard it was tomorrow. I could be wrong about that. It could be next week in terms of the Thursday. What's going to happen Thursday? And hold on to your bippy, and just remember that I told you about it. Go from there.
Okay. Okay. We saw postings. Is Sheriff Mack actually helping, or is he not with the program to help us arrest the bag?
He's with the program. He has to take concerns with what he's doing individually, and sometimes that takes precedent. And part of the thing that concerns him most is making sure that he has good stature and standing. Now, the problem with that is who you standing next to. What is your true allegiance? What do you honor above everything else? And these are questions that I openly propose, and if Sheriff Mack would like to answer those, I would honestly be honored to have him on the show.
Yes, and Rick can be in contact with him. Can you not, Rick? Maybe we should invite him?
If I can get him on the phone, I will do it. I called him yesterday, left him a message. Sometimes Mr. Mack gets busy, and it takes a little while to get back, but usually he's pretty good about returning calls. I will keep trying to contact Richard Mack. Of course, I'm not the type of person to keep calling him and calling him. So hang in there, and we'll do our best to try to oblige the situation.
Okay. Do either Drake or Rick know of any citizen arrests that have been completed, and do either of you intend to conduct any yourself?
I got plans to conduct some, but the people that we would arrest are afraid to come here because they know we're going to do it to them. And I have heard rumors of arrests being made kind of oddly, but around the country. So what have you heard, Rick?
Well, I want to emphasize something. People seem to think that, hey, this stuff's just going to start happening. No, that's not what we told you guys. Now, this is something you can do. You have the right to do it. We have produced a safe way for you to do it by including the right law official, include told you not to take the law into your own hands, get your affidavits in order to get your proof. Now, folks, we all know that at first, when you do this, some people's going to get laughed at. That's just the way it goes. But now, if you start spreading the word out there that we can arrest these people and there's a way to do it, well, think about it. Again, the people that you may be able to bring to play. Now, the more support that builds for these arrests, well, guess what? Produce some affidavits and the proof. After you've got a large amount of people backing it, they ain't going to be so quick to laugh. I want you to think about that. In other words, everything starts slow, folks. Things start small. And as it gains in support, the more effective it is. Come on. I'm trying to think that a few people are going to go out there and, well, give you a show. That's not going to happen. It's up to each of our people out there that are interested in this to spread the news. Hey, wait a minute. not to think that we as citizens can arrest people. And there's ways we can legally do it without going to jail. Get with it, folks. Come on. Don't lay it on just a few people's shoulders. Don't think me and Drake were just going to go out there and start arresting people. It doesn't work like that. One of the reasons I've survived the militia for 21 years is because I thought about what the heck I've done as I went about things. And I made it to where I couldn't be arrested. Now that's how y'all got to think too.
Okay. All right. Okay. My children are in their late 20s and early 30s, 26, 28, and 31. They have little familiarity with knowledgeable people who are presenting the truth in our world today. They have more than a little trouble, as a matter of fact, accepting that the truth about our times is veiled in fallacy. Can you recommend a website or an individual, a younger individual that they might relate to or that might appeal to their generation? Perhaps a site administered by somebody that, somebody else, like I guess they're looking for maybe a celebrity that's in the freedom movement.
We're looking
for their own rock star.
I guess you two just aren't rock stars. What can I say?
Look, young people are neat. You haven't got to be anybody special or particular. Jeremy Dodge, he's like 28 years old. He's been trying to work out ways to touch the younger Americans to bring them to the plate of freedom. And I've kind of suggested on the show tonight that, look, folks, don't learn to be so stiff-nosed. I understand that this generation coming up is different from you, and that's okay. Hey, some of the tattoos they're getting are just beautiful. Not sure how I feel about the piercings and all that, but, hey, every generation has its little gig out there. And the better you accept that, the better you're going to relate to the younger people. Now, it's up to you. If you want to relate to the younger people, well, you got to remember, it's not just your way. They have a way they see things, too. So try to make the adjustment, make the sacrifice. Try to be able to communicate. That's what I did with my sons, and I'm glad I did it. I've got two great sons I'm very proud of. They're freedom fighters just like their father. And, hey, what can you say about that? Trying to understand the younger generation means, well, you've got to try to walk in their shoes. Now, I ain't saying go out and get the tattoos and the piercings and all that. That isn't necessary. But, hey, lend an ear to their music. Listen to them sometimes. They feel like they got something to say, and sometimes they shock you. Sometimes they actually really make a lot of sense. And if you really want to know how the young people feel, well, sometimes you just got to let them pour it out. Sometimes you just got to let them pour it out. So that's my advice as far as dealing with young people. I feel like I do that quite well.
We need to get a hold of Justin Bieber, huh?
Jeremy Dodge is a good one. We'll be searching along. We've got a show on New Colony. I'm trying to remember the name of it. Younger guy's doing it, and he is concerned about our youth. I know him by Black Adder on Facebook, and excuse me, but a lot on my mind sometimes, and I kind of have the brain fart, you might say. So when I get that information, I'll try to make that available on Global Voice.
Thank you. Okay, let's see. Still got a whole bunch more, and we still got about 15, 20 people holding on the phone. Okay. Now I've lost my place. Okay. I have people in my neighborhood that continually hoist the common law flags up and then taking them down at the same time. Is this some kind of a signal? And if it is, what might that mean?
That's a good question. I'd rather have somebody like Jeremy Dodge on to answer that sort of thing, but it doesn't really mean a whole lot one way or the other. You've got a combination of displays that are all fully legal that you can put up in terms of flags. You've got a combination of things in terms of the manner of display that can be just as righteous as any other. And I see this as an expression of how that person feels about certain things, and I would honor that personally. If we, as a people, decide we're going to go to a freedom flag, it looks different. I don't know how well people take to it. If you take the peacetime military flag, everybody's seen the stars and bars, and that's all there is. There's no fringe, no tassels, nothing on top of the pole, just the flag. Then you have what could also be considered a peacetime American flag. So, you know, there's several ways to look at this. And go from there.
Okay, we still have a whole bunch of questions, so let's try to get through some of these, like, really fast, so that we don't have a lot of homework. Okay, let's see. Question for Drake. What kind of troops is the cabal placing outside of our borders? Are they soldiers that belong to specific countries, or are they mercenaries like those Al-Qaeda that fought in Libya and now in Syria?
It's a combination. Now, we also have a problem that goes to foreign children that the military has taken custody of and are trying to, I think, indoctrinate. They're in the neighborhood of 12, 14 years old, give or take. That makes them physically big enough to carry a gun. Now, whether or not they're being indoctrinated to assist with Obama's plan of taking over the country or not, I don't have any idea right at this point, but I do know that these children, there's a few thousand of them, need to be checked on. They need to be found out. I would suggest anybody that can hear this who has the capability to check, please do so. It would be nice to know where these children are, what's being done to or for them, and exactly what the situation is. And I'm sure that if one person doesn't know, but you got something that's close and is kind of curious in terms of the things that you can have evidence of, then I do have people that will definitely out what you found and say, we got some questions about what you're doing, and we can go from there. If you get enough people to find out that even their kids and Child Protective Services, ooh, what are they protecting? And what do they do with your kid? And are these children placed correctly? No. There are thousands of children within protective services that they don't even know where they're at. They got no idea, not a clue. Now, if they can screw that up, I can imagine what they can do for somebody who is an illegal alien kid. Well, kids don't have as many rights, according to some things, as adults. That's horse hockey. They get the same kind of rights as an adult. They may not be able to go to a bar. There may be some infringement on that. However, all these things need to be addressed, and they need to be done, and they need to be done quickly. Go.
Okay. Regarding the nuclear devices at the Olympics, we searched and found nothing on it. What happened?
My understanding was that ET decided to mess with it. That's what I heard. And from what I heard, they were made inert. In other words, they didn't do anything other than spread a lot of fun. So,
okay, this one was from the... Go ahead.
That might be the answer to all of this. I don't know yet.
Okay. This was from the chat room, Drake. I'm sorry to interrupt you. What can you tell us about TACAMARS? TACAMARS.
Not a lot without the definition.
I don't know what it is either.
I know a lot of different things, and it could be that I know about this, but I've heard it addressed differently. So if you want to define that, that'd help. Go ahead.
Okay, what does Drake think about the court ruling that will cease deposits? You might want to think about the fun and games they've played with everything else and apply that accordingly.
Okay?
Okay. Okay, there's things about, I think about 2 months ago, Rush and Alex Jones were alerted to upcoming actions. Are they waiting for an event to report it like the mainstream media?
Yes.
Like, will Rush and Alex probably come in before mainstream, huh?
No, that I don't know. It depends on their sources and the capability of finding out early. Supposedly we're supposed to be the first ones officially contacted, so, but there, you know how that works. There could be internet rumors running wild, and Alex or somebody will pick up on it and go from there.
Okay, is Ron Paul ready to go?
I would hope so. Next.
Okay. Okay, let's see. Weeding through the stuff here. Let's see. Question for Drake. I heard the LIBOR scandal was the end all for the big banks involved. What's up with that, and why is it so mum at this point? It was like big in the news, and now we're not really hearing anything.
Imagine that. They don't want you to know. They don't want you to understand that they have decided that the justice system does not apply to them. They don't want you to understand that if you got enough money, you can buy anything. They don't want you to know of the corruption that's going on. Now, if you look into that a little bit further, you'll find that a lot of things have been going on behind the scenes that they're just simply not reporting. I've seen about half a dozen or so combination of arrests, impoundments, searches, seizures, you name it. So things are going on. You just got to look for them because these people do not want you to know, and they control the media. Next.
Okay. Let's see. Sorry to keep umming. Are the laws in Washington, D.C. different than the laws in the rest of the states, and how do we apply that to mass arrests?
Well, it's very simple. They do occupy space within our national borders, so therefore we can't exert authority over them. Yes, they are considered, according to their basis of existence, even a separate country than us. I want you to understand that very closely. They have, from the District of Criminals, applied for statehood in order to be a little more directly involved and to accrue some of the advantages, they're called benefits, that come from the government. And these things are all being addressed.
Okay. That TACMARS thing, somebody just Skyped me, Drake. Is it in regard to secret messages on the backs of signs directing foreign troops within our borders?
Okay, well, you got a bunch of theories, what-ifs, and maybes on all of that. I'm going to suggest to not be so prevalently worried about that particular sort of thing because it's not exactly what you think it might be, first of all. And secondly, I'll guarantee you that I know of several people that are aware of what is really going on. We're waiting for them to issue their final report, and we will bring it out to you.
Okay. All right. How is Social Security or disability going to get to us when the government closes down?
That'll be coming to you from small independent banks that are not really tied up with the central reserve banks or central banks. It'll be the same sort of deal in terms of you may have to open another account if your bank gets closed, but I guarantee you most small towns have like 2 or 3 banks, be they representative or otherwise. One of those will be open.
Okay. And then the next question was, will then checks be negotiable? You know, like obviously people get Social Security and stuff in the form of a check, but if the government's shut down and the government it's written on a government account, you know, how are they going to cash it? Okay.
What you're looking at is a difference between a federal direct check, which is anything other than the Treasury. I want you to think about that.
Okay.
If it comes from the Treasury Department, which is where our Veterans Benefits, Social Security, that sort of thing comes from, that's not going to be shut down. That is going to be the new operating arm of the federal finance. Okay?
Okay. All right. Drake said in a past show, that if the cabal didn't surrender by June 21st, they wouldn't go down without a fight. So we know that if we give them more time, it seems that it would be logical that it would give them time to prepare and cause more destruction to us. Is that true?
No, you're not going to have more destruction to us. As a matter of fact, it's been working the other way. They got more problems trying to run around putting out fires and keeping people from eating them up in varying ways than they thought possible. So our tact of the offer simply was, do you want to do this by force, or do you want to just surrender? We offered that option, and I mean several of us, to include some of the people I deal with that are principals and all this, and they just ignored it. They quit communicating. So we took that as we don't care what you do, you aren't anybody, and you can't do anything. So we have continued with our operations in order to wrest control and power from them by any means necessary. This includes the possibility, here eventually, of armed troops going in and taking people out. If they want to come out peaceable, they won't be shot. If they don't, they want to put up armed resistance, shame on them, because I know some of the people in the military, and I would not want to stand opposed to them. So go.
Okay. Let's see. Some of these questions were already asked. Are J.P. Morgan Chase and Bank of America any closer to failing?
Absolutely. Bank of America has been hit hard in a lot of different ways. J.P. Morgan Chase also has been hit extraordinarily hard because their money laundering operations internationally, specifically with the Vatican, has been cut off. They were told that if they didn't want to go to jail, that they immediately sever ties, and they have complied with that part. So we're waiting on the rest of things to fall into place so that they can be taken down the rest of the way. Don't forget that they're involved directly and primarily in LIBOR. And this, what's going to happen with that is two things, hopefully. I'd like to see everybody go to jail first, but I doubt that. You're going to see some maybe. The primary thing would be a restitution, where they owe us 2% interest on all of however many years of loans and influence were made worldwide. And each one of those people that, as far as banks goes, who participated, pay that percentage. Get together collectively and figure out how much you owe and heave up. And that ought to break their bank. Next.
Okay, that was all the written questions. Would you like to take any callers, Drake?
Sure.
Okay. Okay, Phyllis, are you still with us? Phyllis. Oh, I think Phyllis gave up. Ray from Alberta, are you still with us?
I am.
Okay, welcome, Ray.
Namaste, and bless you all. I wanted to share that email address of the people in Guatemala who have the cure for HIV.
Okay. And you were going to email that to me too, weren't you, Ray, so that we can share that with our, like on our Facebook and everything with us, with everyone?
I have no vision, and I
oh, that's right. Okay.
Computer.
Okay.
So,
and this is the email address for help with HIV in Guatemala, right?
Yeah, he's got an herbal cure, and his name is Daniel de Kutzel.
Okay, I can barely hear you, honey. Hold on. Guatemala. Okay, his name is what now? Daniel?
Daniel de Kutzel.
How do you spell the last name?
Cutzal. And his email address.
Okay.
Is Cutzal.
CUG.
CUT. Thomas.
Okay, C-U-T.
Z-A-A-L.
Z-A-A-L?
No, just A-L.
Okay.
At CMAI.com.
.com. Thank you so very much. I have C-U-T-Z-A-L at CMAI.com, correct?
That's correct, and anybody can call in there and line up for being treated for HIV. It will take it out in about 90 days. It costs about $6,000 to get everything, and that includes everything, and I believe that's even the lodging and the trip to Guatemala.
Wow. Thank you so very much. We appreciate that, Ray. And we will share that on our Facebook page and everything with everyone.
Please do that.
Will do.
This is something that needs to get out and get done, and it's one of those get or done things.
Yes. Thank you so much, Ray. Appreciate it.
There will be more coming as I get organized myself.
Okay. Thank you, Ray. God bless you.
Thank you, and God bless all of you.
Okay, we have Phyllis. Let me try Phyllis again. Phyllis, are you with us? Nope, I think Phyllis is gone. Okay, we have John in West Pennsylvania. Or John? John in Pennsylvania. John, you with us?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, I need you to turn down the volume on your computer, though, or because I'm hearing myself back.
Okay, how's that?
That's better.
Okay, I have three things I wanted to relate to Drake, some questions. The first one is what's going on with the chemtrails? I noticed that we still get them a lot. I'm in New York a lot, and I see them up there, and they're just relentless with it. The second thing is just do you think the cabal, having collected 2 million tons of gold, has actually put it together in one spot for the Anunnaki to take when they get here? And then the third thing is, in relating to people when you're trying to wake them up, it's painfully obvious that the American public has been really dumbed down through chemicals and propaganda. And when you're dealing with them, you almost have to deal with them like you're dealing with a child. And then there's so much lack of education going on. When you're talking to a young person, they don't even know what the Constitution is. And that's just a comment. That's not a question. But I'll listen to Drake's answers. Thank you.
Okay, well, the first one, chemtrails are being addressed. We got an echo.
How's that?
I don't know. That sounds a lot better. Okay. The chemtrails are being addressed. I'm not going to say by who or how exactly, but the planes are being shot down if necessary. This will spread as things become more available. And here goes that echo again.
I'm sorry. It might be the iPhone. If I had stingers myself, I'd be doing it myself.
Okay. The gold accumulation is not for the Anunnaki. It's for the preservation central distribution to the oligarchs who have invested in it. And from what I heard, the Anunnaki are not exactly what everybody thinks they are in terms of what they're supposed to be able to do when they get here. Okay. Now, number 3. In terms of dealing with people, yes. I have stated several times in a combination of both posts and on air that you have to treat most people as uninstructed children, making sure that what you talk about are simple things in simple terms so that they don't have a misunderstanding problem. The second part of it would be to take copies of the Constitution and distribute them among high school and grade school kids. Tell them to read it, and then get back to them.
Well, that's a good point. Alex Jones, when you purchase stuff from his website, he sends out a citizen's pamphlet, a little book. And I was thinking of going into the courts and putting them in the jury rooms, because a juror has the ultimate power. And is that a good idea?
It depends on whether or not you want to get arrested. I would not suggest attempting to offer truth to the jurisdictional areas. Those things will be attended to when these changes and switches start being made. And at that point, a lot of the people that have been adjudicated outside of common law will be turned loose. So there's going to be some changes. People that have been falsely convicted, and I can think of several, to include a certain, these people like to be called originals, and it's hard to get around the word Indian. There's an Indian that's got life imprisonment for resisting the federal government, and that was the only reason he got the sentence he got. And I'm sorry, but to me, that don't fly. I would much rather have someone with forceful leadership to be able to help his people than have him rotting away in some stupid jail cell somewhere. And that's my opinion, and that's the way I feel. So there you go.
Thank you, John. And I appreciate your call. We're going to get a couple more of our callers in that have been waiting. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Okay, he had a lot of background noise. Sorry about that, everybody. Okay.
I could hear him really well, but you and Drake were just going all over the place.
Oh, really? Yeah, well, that's because you were hearing us through his phone. Okay, hang on. We got Buck from Atlanta, I hope. Buck, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Okay, Buck?
Yeah, real quick, wanted to, Drake mentioned something happening maybe Thursday, tomorrow, or Thursday a week. Was that relating to, like, the weather?
I'm not going to say what it relates to. I'm going to let everybody kind of keep their ear to the ground.
There's going to be a lot of things.
It. Well, yeah, it could, but it's going to be not only noted, but I guarantee you this one will make mainstream media.
Oh, okay.
It's not a prediction per se. It's not strictly a prediction. This is something that's actual scientific fact. It's about to happen, and everybody gets to witness it for a change. So, you know, boy.
One other quick question. The BEK, Black-Eyed Kids. Have you ever heard of that?
Yes.
Is that for real?
Yes. What people do not understand is that we are one of hundreds of millions of races of individual species. Ours is human, as we call it. Theirs are, we are considered Terran, or earthbound, okay, or earth-oriented. You get somebody from Alpha Centauri, they're going to have a different way of looking, they're going to have a different way of being, they're going to have different physical attributes. There's one particular entity that I know of who's famous in Russia. He is called the Red-Eyed Demon of Russia. And he's no more demon than you or I, but he do look different. And his eyes happen to be red instead of black. There are a variety of races, and I say this again, not everything is going to be strictly human in terms of looking at them. What you have to also understand is that they're primarily here to help. Almost all of those different races are here to help you. Number two, a lot of these extraterrestrial races, star races, galactic races, whatever you want to call them, are involved in fighting the ETs that are bad guys. Well, they can better take care of that than we can, and I think it's cool They're policing their area as we are trying to police ours. So as these things all come together, you're looking at some pretty extraordinary events. And believe me, the people that are different are used to being each other, staring at each other. Wow, man, I was trying to figure out what that, how do your eyes do that? And 9 times out of 10, they'll say, I don't know. It's like, how come my hair's curly? I don't know. That's just the way it is. And you'll look at one of them and say, ooh, you sure look ugly to me. And they turn around and look at you and say, likewise. So it depends on how much the difference is, and it depends on whether or not you can take things as in a sense of humor.
Well, now I heard the black-eyed kids were a form of like almost an insect, obviously big in size and very dangerous. So that's what I had heard about that. I don't know if that's true. I just read that.
Well, what you got to remember is, have you noticed what the E.T. movies are about? Other than that movie E.T., that's the only positive one I've seen. And this goes back as far as sci-fi goes. They're always evil, out to do some kind of number on you. I mean, that cannot be true. If you think about it, if you go out in the woods, there's only a few things that are going to actually attack you. You step on a snake, it'll bite you. I mean, this is, kind of given as taken for granted. Birds stay away from you. People who are different, and I can tell you right now, E.T. is real concerned. The ones that I'm in contact with are extraordinarily concerned with being shot at. I mean, when they are in a form that coincides with our existence, you can shoot them and they will die, and they know this, and they don't want that. I've got an open invitation that they want to visit. As long as it ain't too late at night, come on with it. I'd love to have that conversation. Hopefully that'll take place. I don't know exactly when, particularly. And as I say, I don't care. Just let me know that you're coming, and we'll go from there. I'm sure that I'm going to, in some ways, look to them just as strangely as they look to me. I've heard that some of them are 7 foot tall and look like Mr. Spock from Star Trek. I've heard that some of them are totally different in terms of physical appearance than anything you've ever seen. And I'd like to figure out how to shake hands with something that's totally different. I got 1,000 questions about this. If it's friendly, at least I know it ain't going to bite me. Now, the part that people don't understand is that we carry certain diseases that may affect those people. It's like us and the Indians. They didn't have any defense against some of the things that came from Europe when we first got here, and it about wiped them out. Okay, then we went about taking blankets and clothing from sick people and giving it to them to make it worse, to get rid of them. Okay, you might want to try to shake hands, and that entity may not be able to do that. It could be that they got some kind of a simple, skin virus that doesn't have any effect on them, like the bacteria we carry on our hands, that would be deadly to us. So you have to take a lot of consideration into all of this before you get it to where everything's right. And having the idea that E.T. is evil is a propaganda trick. Also, there's a few out there that are, but it's primarily a propaganda trick. The populace should be scared of these things, these people, so that the cabal knows that we don't have reinforcements. If these people are here to help, think about, having an entire race join you in the fight. And that's what they don't want. And they don't want us to make friends. So that's how it is.
Okay, thanks.
Yep.
Thanks, Buck. Okay, Marilyn from California. Marilyn, you have your moment here.
Oh,
You're live.
Thank you. Drake, do you know what the percentage of the arrests are approximately? And the second question is I'll let you answer that one first.
Well, I mean, the question is, what are you talking about in percentage of the federal employees? Office holders, or
U.S.
U.S. percentage?
Guys, yeah.
Altogether,
and then globally, both, I guess.
Well, altogether, I heard rumors of somewhere between 300,000 at least and 1 million.
Okay. Do you know what that kind of percentage would be?
I have no idea. You got 350 million, 313 million or whatever it is in population, so
okay,
when you talk about a third of the country, and then you got to remember, a lot of these things, a lot of these people that are going to be arrested are foreign nationals. You got to remember that there's a lot of people here that hide out here because we didn't have agreements with the international court. And you have to understand that were we to arrest them and they want to try to wiggle, then the international court can come into play now that we are an affiliate with that. So they're not going to be able to get away, but they have been hiding out in this country and a couple of others who do offer protections against that sort of thing. The problem is, all our protections go, they get arrested anyway.
Yeah.
Soros is not an American.
Somebody had given it 75%. That seemed a little bit outrageous to me.
Yeah, well, no, it won't be that many. The 75% should be attributed to military that's on our side. That would be a number that would equate that way, and that's pretty assured. And everybody has stated that they're not going to cooperate. So, the thing is that it's an extraordinary house cleaning, and that if you get into the full number, say 300,000, you're talking about a lot of the locals. Now, the people that are going to try to do the national operation is only going to come down to about the governor level. I was told this. So from the governor down, we're going to have to make sure that everything's clean. And it depends on their name. It depends on what they've done. It depends on what they've been party to. And it's going to have to be a total, full disclosure of everything they've been doing. Mm-hmm. You got to have this evidence, and I say adjudicate them. Make them miserable and uncomfortable, and you got to wait 6-8 months. And we forgot to put the screens in the education centers that they call them now instead of FEMA camps. Oh, I hope the mosquitoes don't eat too much.
And what's your timeline, if you could say this, on when common law will take effect?
After we get done making the change in the government, as soon as the sweep is done, as soon as the cleansing is complete, then all of it comes out.
Okay.
Okay.
One more thing. In California state law, Section 20, Article 3, it says all public officials, officers, state employees, etc., must have an oath of office. And I contacted several in our local police department and the chief, and they sent that request over to the city attorney, and that city attorney sent me a form with all these penal codes of, saying it wasn't public record, and he couldn't disclose it. So would my next step be to send them the Constitution and say you must, or what would you recommend?
That sounds like a nice mess to get into. Keep you off the streets for a while. What you're dealing with is the fun and games of freedom of philosophy. Now, I'm not saying that this is bogus. I'm saying this is real. But in terms of going through the systems necessary to get the results you're looking for, and you're talking about extraordinary time in terms of just the judicial process. Okay, these are parts of the system that are going to be revamped. So I would just simply, it's not part of public disclosure. Well, that means that the attorney...
Constitutional law, California constitutional law gives Section 20, Article 3, but he's given a bunch of penal codes saying...
Well, hold on a minute. There's a difference, okay? One is law, and one is a code.
Right.
It is a regulation. It is not a true law.
Right.
And whether he likes it or not is not my problem, okay? All of this will be disclosed. All of these things will come out in the open, will come out in the fresh air. The dink attorney will be adjudicated for obstruction of justice. Whoops. I mean, that's just, and that's just one charge I can think of off the top of my head. So, go from there.
Thank you, Drake.
Thank you, Marilyn. Appreciate your call, honey. Okay. We have Kari. Kari in California also.
Hi.
Hi,
everybody.
Kari.
Good evening. Hi, Drake.
Okay.
Hi, Grammy, Jay. I was reading the Neil Keenan posting yesterday, and I was a little disturbed by something it said on there. Drake, can you please clarify something about our deposits? Like like a lot of people, we have direct deposits for our paychecks. Does that mean that our direct deposits are in danger?
If they've closed the bank, you ain't going to be able to get the money. If that don't answer the question, I don't know what does. You need to make sure that you've got a couple of weeks of general operating cash in your hand. Hello?
Hello, did you hear that?
Yeah.
Kari, you're echoing back.
Echo, that's why I was curious.
Kari?
Yes, I'm right here.
Okay.
Did you hear?
We're getting a lot of echo back. Did you hear the answer?
No, I didn't. Sorry.
Okay, what you have to do is to keep a couple of weeks of operational cash in your hand.
Okay.
That should be sufficient to cover you. The bank should not be closed more than a few days at most in terms of the general banking system. It'll be realigned with the Treasury Department, and the Treasury Department will take it over from the bogus private enterprise and make it a true federal bank. When the true federal bank springs up, then all the rest of it just simply follows along and falls right back into place. In other words, you'll have a small interruption. It could be anywhere from 3 days to 2 weeks. I've heard all the stories all in between that. And that's why I say get weeks and hold on to it, be prepared, and, don't worry about it.
And
thanks, Kari. I think, go ahead, honey. We have like 5 minutes.
No, thank you. No, go ahead.
We have like 5 minutes before our hour's up, and I think at an hour it's just going to shut us off again. So,
sure, no problem. I can talk to you later. Have a good
Thank you, honey.
Everybody.
Thank you, Kari. Okay. We have Eagle in Montana. Eagle, you're with us?
Yeah. Hey, Drake. I got a question, a twofold question here. Since your last show, actually it was in the second song that you were doing, that's one of the reasons I got so emotional when I was talking to you. I wound up being able to do 4 lines of automatic writing with my eyes absolutely closed to the music of the second song that you played. And yesterday, I've been seeing on my wall quite a few people, and yesterday another face popped up on my wall, and I could see them, and then I put on some reading glasses, and all over my wall there was writings of different kinds, and I'm just curious did I get all of this because of what you taught me about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago?
That's a good possibility. Once a person awakens, sometimes they have experiences that seem extraordinary. And from what you're describing, I would suggest that you are being introduced to a group of people, entities, that may not be of our existence. They may be the next step or the one after. I don't honestly know. Best thing you could do is, do you recognize any of the people? If you do, then you have family or friends or people that you know who apparently are on the other side or whatever you want to call that, who are saying hi or something.
Well, one of the people that I've seen for the last 5-6 months is my dad, and he's been gone for about 5 or 6 years. But the other people I don't recognize.
Well, they may be friends of your dad. What everybody doesn't understand is that you go to a different place. And this is stated in the Bible as just the way I said it, a different place. This is a different existence. Okay? When a person passes on, they go to the next level. This is the white light everybody talks about. This is the new existence. This is the heavenly realm. And so, as people do know, there's been a lot of instances of this where they see loved ones after they're gone. They might be rocking in a rocking chair. They might appear as a face on a wall. Or they might be staring back at you in the mirror you look into. They might even wave and say hi or something. You never know. And I don't know your particular situation, but that's what this sounds like. Okay?
Cool. Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, Eagle. And Eagle, you do not have an email address or anything, right?
Correct.
Okay, because I was going to say we could send you that song. But because we had other people request, and we have sent it out to them that they could play it on their computer. But I'm going to talk to you on the phone, and maybe I can burn you a copy of it on do you have a CD player?
Yeah.
Okay, maybe we can burn you a copy that you can play on your CD player. So, okay, Eagle, thank you so much. We have 1 or 2 more callers that we're going to try to get before time runs out. Thanks, Eagle, and I'll call you. Okay, Millie in Massachusetts. Millie, you're live?
Yes, hi. Thank you for taking me. Thank you, Drake, so much. I appreciate hearing from you. I have a question. I know, Drake, you mentioned about the dinars. You said something about the after the tamper or something. I don't know what that is about, but here's my question. Is it before the date of the presidential election, or is it after? That's my first question. The second question is also, is the U.S., I guess, companies or firms, do you know whether they are heavily invested into this? Like, when I say firms, I mean like Merrill Lynch and, all those other investments, Barclay Capital, et cetera.
Okay. I don't know exactly when the dinar is going to RV. That's number one. I understand people have been working on things and doing things, and et cetera. And I hear a lot of rumors about it. I'm not particularly directly involved in that part of it. So what you're going to have to wait for is to see whether or not the world financial system, after it is changed to the world financial system, and this is an agreeable relationship between the world as such and the structure of the banking system within a country. The country's sovereignty is not affected by this. This is something that is basically, and it's like the alignment of computers, as an example. There are a lot of entities out there right now that are screwing people on terms of the dinar. My understanding is that the dinar is coming anywhere 8 to 10, and I'm not sure about that. This is the rumor I've heard again, and I've heard that it's going to RV somewhere around 25. This means that all these people, all these turkeys that are offering you 8 to 10 now are going to get double that pretty soon. That's a pretty good return. My suggestion is that individuals hold on to this and do not turn them into any financial institutions so that you do not end up allowing them to steal from you. Okay?
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much. Okay, one more. Jim in Kansas. Jim, are you with us?
I'm with you, Denise.
Welcome, Jim. You might want to hurry because we might run out of time, but go ahead.
Okay, I'll be real quick. I just want to thank everybody